I literally just wake up, go gym, like do my morning routine, go gym, be back home to spend time with my missus, like she has breakfast with me and that. And then by the time I'm done, I just want to just go and sit in the office and lift my laptop up and deal with work when I need to deal with work. Then when I'm done with work, I can get home and get to my family. So I'm not in the gym at like 6, 7 o'clock at night. I delegate tasks. Even when I first started out, I was delegating tasks to free up time, because
I rate it.
It's not, for me, it wasn't about, it's about freeing up time. It's also like I had so much time, I didn't actually need to give it to someone else to do. But to become someone you want to be, you have to become that person. So when I was a life coach, I was like, what would one of the best life coaches in the world have? Social media manager, PA, content creator.
Who do you think the best life coach in the world is?
Me.
I love it.
Yeah, fair. But if you weren't to choose yourself.
Oh, Tony Robbins.
Yeah, standard. Of course, mate.
He's one of the first that I went to. I went to his seminar for like 4 days, man. He's the GOAT. Like, honestly, I don't see anyone as like, if someone was walking down the street, it could be anyone that we say is famous, I think is bullshit, yeah? Like, I wouldn't ever stop to have a photo with someone.
But Robbins,
Robbins, like, if he was walking down the street, mate, I'd get on my knees and stuff. But mine would come from a place of like, just thank you so much for giving the coaching world so much of like a credit. And like, he's just so inspiring to me. It's just like, I know that I can get to that level. And it's not even a thing of limiting beliefs, that we're all humans, right? So you two lads doing this podcast, I've got a podcast. It's nothing to say that in 5 years you won't be top of the fucking thing. We're all skin, we're all blood, we're all bones. No one's different. People just further ahead, right?
Trust me.
How did you find the 4-day seminar?
Unbelievable. Tiring, man. They like pump like aircon in, so it was freezing, but obviously to keep everyone awake. And then there was like 12,000 people in this room, and it was just like the energy was just unbelievable.
Did you walk through fire?
Yeah, at the end of it, yeah. I can't find the video for the life of me, man. But there's this sick at the end of it of like the 4 days, it gears you up to just like walk on the fire, and it was sick. But obviously, coaching to me wasn't even a thing then. That was more of like for. I guess I just got obsessed with the law of attraction, and then I was like, right, who's the GOAT, Tony? So then I went and see him for like 4 days, and there was other coaches there, and then little did I know that like obviously planted the seed, and then a couple of years later was when I actually did become a coach.
It's that thread, mate. That's where you pulled the thread, mate, and like you have no idea where that's going to go to.
Nah, never. I'll just go with it though. Like the way I've lived my life is just like I'll do everything at 100 miles an hour, and then if I wake up one morning and I don't enjoy it anymore, I'll just stop.
Yeah, I rate it, mate. Or just to pull back, obviously, mate, you said about getting your mate's mum to do your food, mate. You're peeled, to be fair. Yeah, you are shredded. Obviously, how big do you think gym's been for you in like personal development?
So from a young age, it was so from a young age, I was very, very badly bullied at school, like to the point where like I become a person I didn't want to be, but to put on the front, to fit in, to stop the bullying.
How old were you when you started getting bullying?
Oh, mate, juniors, probably like junior school, I would say. Definitely junior school. Like, my mum and dad are like, I don't have icons in this world yet, but if I had to choose 2 people that inspired me, like, it'd be 2 people that don't even have Instagram, and that's my mum and my dad. Because they've shown me what real human beings should be like, in the sense of like, they have given me and my brother like absolutely everything. Like, can't fault my upbringing in the slightest. And then where they was just like grafting, and they never found their passion till quite late. So money for us growing up was a little bit of a struggle, right? So I was never going to school with brand new stuff on, ever. So like I'd get bullied for like my clothes, or like I'd get bullied because I wasn't a skater or something like that, you know. But a pair of Vans, mate, would be expensive to my parents to buy.
You grew up in Brighton?
Yeah.
Oh, what, like Vans was like
like back in the day, yeah, like skater. But they were the kids at the time at junior school that I wanted to fit in with.
That's a Brighton thing, isn't it? Because like in Bournemouth, like it's not really the skater vibe.
It was massive. I didn't even fucking like skating, you know. It's just because I just needed some friends, you know. Like,
yeah.
And then for my height, and I was so skinny, bro. I was probably 4 stone until I was about 7, 8, I reckon. Couldn't eat. And then went to school, and it was just like, I actually had a medium reading the other day, and my nan basically came through, and the guy was basically just like, your nan protected you from the world because she knew how sensitive you were. So my nan and my mum have wrapped me up in cotton wool, probably too much, to the point that when I went to school, I was like, why are these people being horrible? Like, I was just used to being loved and cuddled by 2 women, do you know what I mean, throughout my whole life. So it was a massive wake-up call.
What do you think of the mediums?
Unreal. Basically, whatever you've learned from being a child up until now, unlearn it.
Why?
Purely because, man, I don't want to go turn this into like a deep
do
podcast.
It, bro. That's what
basically the way the elites run this world, is I've actually stopped wearing deodorant this week as well.
Why?
because of the fluoride that's in it. So you've
Been
got some
telling you about the fluoride in the
He's been
tap
telling
water.
me about the toothpaste as well.
Yeah, trust me. So basically what happens is, is the elites and that, think about it, to numb the nation, and we create from our pineal gland, right? So when you meditate, we have these crystals, you bring them up through your body, and then when you activate the pineal gland, it's the fifth dimension, and that's where you create from, all right? So then think about it, if you're putting fluoride in drink, food, like product, like you have to wear deodorant. Like, but if you eat the right food, you ain't gonna smell. Do you know what I mean? So for me, like, I'm so into this stuff that anything I've learned from a young age of going to school, and like, I've unlearned it.
What else have you unlearned?
I rate it, but the deodorant thing is just it's too far for me.
I was thinking,
like,
do you not smell,
bro? Like,
Nah, man, if you eat the right foods, you eat the right foods. And at the end of the day, like, if my pineal gland's going to work, I'm going to be so successful, I'm not going to give a fuck of anyone's opinion.
What about when you train? Do you not stink after?
No, I'm all right, to be fair. This week's been a test, mate. I've been all right. I said to my bird last night, like, wait, what the pit saying? She was like, you're all right.
What else do you think you've unlearned, mate?
Just how society, like, I've never been one to fit in. So, like, obviously going back to the gym stuff, like, I become obsessed with the gym to get in shape, but it wasn't for anything for my ego. It was purely to stop the bullying. But then I got bullied more because I started going gym, and then people were like, oh, he's on steroids. And I was like, look, I'm 16. Like, I'm not on fucking steroids. Started my first course at 18. So
standard.
I started to learn that, like, just unlearning how everything through my childhood doesn't actually need to matter.
So obviously with that in mind, you know, you grew up, like you said, with your mum and nan close to you. What were you like at school before all that?
Nah, I just from day one basically got bullied at school in junior school. So I've never known any different really. At junior school, going up into secondary school, I was like, severely bullied and that. So I've never really experienced like a good solid week at school where I wasn't going home like upset.
Oh, was it that bad?
Yeah, it was savage, bro. Like, don't get me wrong, I was mates with these people and I did fit in with them, but then I just knew what was going on behind my back. I knew what was said and that. Do you know what I mean? So for me, that had a massive impact, and I think that's probably what caused my anxiety so much from a young age.
So when did you start going to the gym then? Was it like
literally about 16? I think I started going, and I'd go in and I'd just watch people lifting weights and that, and then I'd just become obsessed with it. Like 6-7 days a week, mate, I'd be going, and I'd just lifting, eating what I could, protein shakes and that. I was doing protein shakes in like year 9, I reckon.
Standard, mate.
like
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like being the boy walking around with a shaker and that, I'd go to the gym.
Creatine.
Yeah, but then I just become obsessed with it. And then it was just learning about dieting. Then I'd get in shape just to go away for the summers. Like, if I could go away for the summer and just be shredded, I knew that I was going to fuck so many birds.
Yeah.
Then obviously the guy that I'd built up to be this lad at school to stop the bullying took that on to be the person with the summer aways.
Oh,
so I built up this persona and personality of like someone that's in shape, someone that goes away for 6 months, has whatever he had, the lifestyle that I had over there. And then I just moulded myself to protect myself, but I actually turned out just being a prick.
Really?
Yeah, instead of just being the vulnerable, emotional, loving person that my nan and my mum brought me up to be, I put on a front to stop the bullying.
But you've almost got to go like full circle to be able to realise that. Do you know what I'm
I
saying?
don't regret anything I've been through in the slightest, like not one thing. And I've been through some fucking savage stuff. But yeah, there's not one regret because now I get to teach people.
So let's pull it back. Obviously, from age 16, you start going to the gym. What do you decide to do after school?
Mate, so my brother had everything laid out for him. My mum was like, right, you're going to stay on at the same school, you're going to go to college. And then my mum tried to do the same with me and my dad. I was like, no. They're like, what do you mean?
Your
like,
big brother?
Yeah. So I was like, no, that's not happening. They were like, why? And I'm like, I'm just not meant for that school. So I found a rugby college in Worthing.
You playing rugby at that age?
Yeah. So I was playing it from like the age of 6. And then, I just was like, no, I'm going to go to a rugby college. And they were like, what the fuck? And I was like, look, I'm not going to lie, I've already got in. And my mum and dad were like, wow, you've done that all on your own. Because I was still going to dentist with my mum. I was still going to doctors with my mum. Yeah, biggest mummy's boy. Big up, mumsy. So then they were like, whoa. So then I went to college. And then the persona that I built on at school, I took into college when I should have just gone and been a clean slate.
I didn't even know they had rugby colleges. Did you?
I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't even
so
know
like
it
was like a sports. It's like a sports college. I call it a rugby college, but they just had a certified rugby academy. Like I'm talking, like you had to be on the pitch training at 8:30 every morning. Like,
that's decent.
If you weren't there at 8:29, you were late.
That's so good.
Do you know what I mean? So I went there and then ended up doing well at the college. Ended up going on to play for England colleges in rugby.
Oh, nice. So was being a professional rugby player the goal then?
Yeah, 100%, and then it all come crashing down.
Why?
We've had rugby boys on the podcast before, and like there's a certain mentality with rugby boys,
Yeah.
isn't there? It's like train hard, but also like party hard as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So I then had that lifestyle of like just training non-stop, and then I was just I was getting called into the office for like sleeping with netball girls and that. I just couldn't settle and be myself, and it actually irritated me. Then we had like this national semi-final, and I got done for taking steroids. Like,
Really?
Yeah. Like a week before.
Got tested?
No, so basically, the person that actually sold them to me grassed me up, pissed on a Saturday night to my college coach, who's actually in England, was an England college coach at the time.
What were you taking?
I just took like a course of Dynabol because
That's
all
standard.
of these comments, were like, "Oh, you're never going to be big enough to make it." Like, even from coaches and that. So I'm like, "Fucking hell!" So I got some bits, and then got called off the pitch on a Tuesday morning, mate. I'll never forget it. Got called in, and they were like, "Look, we know 100% there's proof." And I was
Did you not just
like,
deny
"Oh,
till you die?
We've packed on about 20 kilos.
yeah, mate. Like, I was in real shape, and it was a thing. It was a thing going around the college anyway. To be fair, and then I basically, that was the first time I actually experienced anxiety, and I just froze, mate. And the geezer was like, "Look, if you admit it now," and I just didn't know what to do. I should have ran out the room, and then my dad was like, "We would have just put you on a flight until it was out of your system." And then I had to go up to Twickenham and that to the HQ.
Really?
Yeah. They asked me loads of questions, who I got it from, and I still didn't grass the kid up who sold them to me because he played rugby at the same time. So yeah, man, that would. And then I had
Talk us through that moment. Obviously, like you said,
heartbreaking. Like, honestly, the first time I can remember, like my uncle died maybe like 6 months before, I think, or maybe like a year before. I can't remember. Didn't cry because I wasn't used to emotion because of this person I built up. And then when rugby got taken from me, mate, I remember watching the lads train on that Tuesday, and I'll just cry my eyes out, mate. Run my dad, and my dad's just like, "What the fuck?"
is steroids a like big thing in rugby under the carpet sort of thing?
I wouldn't be able to know because back then, if it was, it would have been hush hush, and I'd been away from the sport for so long now. I wouldn't be able to comment.
Do you think it is there?
Yeah, 100%,
be,
bro.
mate.
They're all fucking jabbing up, mate. 100%. Like, I personally believe, because there's some of the lads that we played against, mate, and they were just like ridiculous
Monsters.
Yeah, like the same week I got done, an MP's son got done as well, which was good because he took the limelight off me. Like, he went in the Daily Mail and that, went in the news, everything. And yeah, 100% everyone in the sport's probably been enhanced at some point. I'd say good 60% because you won't make it otherwise. There's so much pressure.
Yeah, and also there's a lot more exposure to sports that have people taking PEDs.
It's physical as well, isn't it? It's like physicality. So it's not like you're doing, well, even if you were doing like running, there'd be like blood thinning and stuff. But like with rugby, it's so dependent on size and also like weight.
It's ego as well. Like, if you're in the change rooms and there's geezer shredded, you're like, fuck, I need to be like that. Especially at that young age, it triggers insecurities and that. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, I wonder what would happen.
Still feel like that now, bro.
Luckily, I don't feel like that. First time in my life, I don't feel like that.
You're
now.
shredded though, mate. To be fair.
I wonder what would happen to sports if the exposure come to light and that it got found out that pretty much everyone was taking PEDs.
Well, to be honest, like, if people do take it, I reckon they probably take growth, which is already in your system anyway. So if you get flagged up on that, then there's probably ways of like swinging around it. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if you're the best in your sport, unless you get like an international governing body come down and do like a doping test and that, are you really gonna stop your key player being available?
The thing is, though, if someone said to you, say you're 16 years old, and someone said to you, look, you can take growth or you can take any sort of PED and you'll become the best in the world, and there's a 1% chance you get caught, I think every lad would do it.
I did take it with both hands, mate. I was probably on the borderline of, well, the coach that actually got me the ban, he called me into the office 2 weeks later and was just like, look, obviously what's happened. And I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, I know it's got him, what's happened. You fucking done it to me. Like, and he was like, I was on the verge of putting you through to the England stuff and like professional clubs and that. Why didn't you come to me and get a nutritionist and we would have done it properly? I was just like, why the fuck are you telling me this now?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Told my dad that, mate, and on the game day of the national semi, he just come flying down, just brought the coach to one side, mate, told me to wait there, and honestly, I've seen my dad angry, yeah, but honestly thought he was just going to spark him out, because that was my dream. Yeah, I would have retired my parents, I would have done everything I could have done, do you know what I mean? And that was over there and then that was probably the start of where my relationship with me and my dad probably started to go a little bit south, I reckon.
Did you feel a bit lost after that?
Yeah, well, I just fucked off to Iron Apple for 6 months. Do you know what I mean? And
Why Iron Apple? Was it just like
just went
feeling
on
at the
there.
moment? Or?
Yeah, just went there for a holiday the year before, and then we was all like, fuck it, let's just go out. And the lads were like, we're still going. I was like, I'm coming. So and then that just spiraled, mate. That was like 1 year to 6 years I ended up going away for. 5 in Iron Apple, 1 in Ibiza.
So tell us about the first time you flew out there, because obviously going out there on a holiday and then going out there to work is completely different, right? We all know what it's like to be on a holiday out there, but being a rep out there or whatever you were doing out there it's a different lifestyle, right?
Mad, I didn't even work for the first year, really. Done like a few bits and bobs and that, but I think just where I was so anxious in such a mad environment. I was 17 years old. Like, bro, that's mad, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, I just had some money saved up, because my first earner was I used to lend someone money, put interest on top, and then live off the interest and then keep lending the money. From a young age, I've always
Loan
been
shark.
What's the APR rate on that?
That's shady, mate.
So that was my first earner. So I was living quite a good, like even at college and that, I was living like quite a good life. Do you know what I mean?
So you had a bit of money tucked away the first time you went out there?
I've always saved. Like, my nan and granddad used to give me a tenner for a week. Like, so every time we go past a shop, I don't need to be like, oh, can I go in and get some sweets? And every week I'd go out, every time I got there, I'd come home with a tenner, because I'd just blag my brother to buy sweets, have some of his, and then just save the tenner. I've always had that mindset. And at the rugby club, if my dad was pissed, he'd be like, go and get me a couple of beers from the bar, and that, where we had a good relationship with the bar. So I used to do that and then just keep the change. And then I'd be like, look, it's a service fee, innit? So I used to save that money as well. And then like I used to give people who live to college, take petrol money off them. So I've always had quite a good mindset with that. So then when I went away for the summer, I had dough. I'm very fortunate, like my parents have backed me with anything. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was intimidating. It was hard. A lot of insecurities, because I was 17 and then you've got like 23-year-old lads over there that are big lads, that did get a lot of attention off girls, that were clearing up. And, you know, you're just out in these clubs and you may be a little bit intimidated and that. And then the second one, you find your feet.
So first year you go out there, you just partying out there?
Yeah, non-stop, mate. Like 7 nights a week, I'd say. And you'd only have a night off if you was just absolutely knackered, or you had to take clap tablets.
You go out there with a few other lads?
Yeah, my 2 best mates, Nick and Jordan, they come out with me, and our other friend Lewis and that. And then every year you just gain other mates and then they come out. But solidly with them 2 throughout the years. Yeah.
So were you working out there eventually?
Yeah, so in the second year I actually got a job at a bar PRing outside, which was just
One of those annoying kids that
yeah,
runs
mate,
up to
I was
everyone.
that guy. Yeah.
So
All right,
annoying.
girls, where you going? But then you actually, it's my first like lesson in sales.
I actually would 100% agree with that, because
Yeah.
it's like, it's almost like cold approaching, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like I was used to just like no's. Do you know what I mean? But in the end, I just stop people and go, listen, my boss is there. Look, he's got a laser. He's going to laser me anyway to come over and talk to you. So like, where you going tonight? I'm not trying to PR you. Generally, just trying to get my boss off my back. So I'll give him an excuse once you walk away. And then that built the trust with them. And then in the end, they'll be like, well, we don't really know where to go. Look, all right, cool. Well, this is what we do in here. Like, you're more than welcome coming in. As you can tell, I'm not like pushy in sales.
You still got the script down to a T,
Yeah,
bro.
trust me. And then, and then basically they'd be like, oh, do you know what? I said, look, it's only €6 each. Like, I can stand there and the barman will pour you this like the strong drink, because obviously everyone just thought the drinks were watered down and that. And I was like, look, you just stand there and he'll pour it until you tell him stop. And then what you do is they'd get him in the bar and then just say, look, if you've got your money's worth and that, just let me know, and then just come back every night. And then that, in the end, it was just like easy as anything. But I just never really had a good work ethic working for anyone else. I could never really get into it. And then I'd go back year after year to like a different bar, which actually was the bar I ended up staying in for most of the time. And then yeah, it was
So how many years did you do Iron Apple for?
5
5 years.
Yeah.
What's it like coming back?
Horrible.
Because like obviously you've been out there in the sun, like it's almost like a bit of a like.
Biggest come down you'll ever get in your life.
That's what I'm saying, like a bit of a dreamland, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
just-
literally. Like you come back from living in the sun, getting pissed, sleeping with loads of women, drinking, parties, seeing some of the biggest artists in the world, which now I wouldn't give a fuck about. But back then, you know, you'd go to the events for free and that, being a worker, and then you'd come home and it was like, shit, reality, I need to get a job.
And then what do you do when you come back the first year? Did you get a job then?
I think I tried to go to university.
And do what?
Bit of a curveball.
Yeah, but just like I think it was like something in personal training. I don't even know what it was, but I went for like 3 months, I think it was. Then my brother was like, do you want to come out to Thailand for New Year's? I was like, yes. Got back, went to uni, and my mum just rang me. She was like, look, come home. It just weren't for me. I never went to the lectures. Played rugby there, built some great friends that I'm still in touch with now. And and I just was do anything not to go to work. I never believed in working for anyone else.
So where's the head at after 5 years of partying, PRing outside the clubs, drinking?
Fucking lost the plot, mate. Bad. That was when my breakdown happened.
Do you think when you were sort of to pull back on like going year, coming back year, like what's that doing to you? Because like obviously you're into the gym at that point as well. So like I'm like trying to figure out how you can even get your diet in over there, like how you can just be
so
like
basically
normal.
This was the vicious circle. So like say I was going away for my first year in May, I would get in immaculate shape come May. Go out there for the summer, try and keep it up. It's impossible. Don't care what anyone says. So you stop taking steroids.
How can it be possible if
It's
you
not.
ain't taking gear?
It's not.
And also you're eating, even if you're eating relatively clean, it ain't that clean.
I won't eat
And the
it.
alcohol as well.
I weren't making enough money over there to eat, mate. I was thinking I was getting like maybe a fucking gyros at it before work.
They're all right, to be fair, gyros.
Yeah, they're all right, mate. Do you know what I mean? So I would, the diet...
Ain't really hitting the macros.
Nah,
then,
the diet goes out the window and that. And then you come home, you go back on cycle for another 6 months. And
Well, when you say you're cycling, so obviously the first time you do a bit of D-bowl.
Oh, mate, then I started jabbing at like 7, 8, 19, I think I probably done my first jab. And then after that, you just start like, oh, what else can get added in? What else can get added in? What else can
making
get
a little
Next
potion.
thing you know, you're taking like Tren, Masteron, like everything, mate.
Did you have any previous knowledge about steroids
Nah,
itself?
nothing. I just trusted someone that much.
Yeah, see, that is the issue nowadays, isn't it? When you get to like 16, 17, you start doing steroids.
Yeah.
You just chuck it in your body. You don't even
Yeah,
really care.
I've never cared though. It's the same with drugs and that. I've been away in RB for someone give me a pill, I just fucking take it.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
normal though, isn't it? But it's weird because like with steroids and PEDs, it's like you take something and then you're like, yeah, that's decent. And then you're like, the barrier or the entry level is higher.
Then
Like, what's the next
chase it.
stuff?
Then you get in the mindset where it's like, I need to get shredded. I need to take all of these enhancements. Do you know what I mean? So I'd come home. I'd then get in the car every weekend, go out and make money. Obviously doing bits I shouldn't have been doing. Gym throughout the week, and then for 6 months, I'm living basically the lifestyle I lived abroad. But it was just like hiding away, saving money, going gym, steroid, going out. Come May, I'm just away for 6 months again, flying back out again. Come September,
Where's your head at like through this period though? You just sort of like lost in the, I guess just like
it's an addiction. You have to understand. To me, that become the normal.
Yeah.
So when people leave college and they go into work, their work is waking up, go into a job that they fucking hate and they don't really know what they're going to do in the future. The normal to me was at a young age, I was maybe making back then I'd be saving £1,000 a week, like every week religiously. I'd be saving £1,000 a week to the point where I'd be pissed off if it was 800 quid. So for me, that was the normal. So then even when I was making that money and then I was going away again, living that party lifestyle.
It's almost like building the finances for the 6 months away.
Yeah. Every year was just leveling up to the point where like, then I started to go away and be like, shit, actually, like this saving's quite cool. Actually, I'm just going to keep stacking. So it just become an addiction because how do you break that cycle? You know what I mean? And then it come to the 5th year in Iron Apple, which was savage because my nan died, my friend was murdered over there, and then a girl had an abortion behind my back in the space of 3 months while I was away.
Wow.
So obviously you mentioned your nan earlier on in the podcast, right? Huge part of your life, I can
massive.
imagine.
Yeah. The single biggest part of my life.
Yeah, and obviously when you're out there, is that when she sort of passes away?
Yeah, so she had a fall and I just thought, oh, she's clumsy. Like, I just didn't think anything of it. Then I got a phone call and dad was like, look, I think you might have to come home. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, look, she's weakened. She's not, we don't know if she's strong enough to have the operation. Basically, it was a lose-lose in a nutshell. And then she just started deteriorating. And then my dad flew me back. And then literally just got there, just was the worst week of my life. The single worst week of my life, coming from paradise to like my worst nightmare within a week. And then, I was going up to the hospital in London every day from London with my mum and dad. And then my dad basically said, like, there's nothing more that you can actually do being here. Like, it's inevitable, Nan's going to pass away. Find a flight, go back. So my nan passed away. I got to say my bye to her, which is, it was sick. Like, on a podcast, I'd done a talk about a month ago and I cried my eyes out in front of 200 people. But to be able to sit here now and just like, it doesn't tear me up anymore because it's like, it was just such a privilege to know her. Do you know what I mean? And like, I got to watch her pass away for a week, which is more than some grandkids ever get with their family. And I'd never go on school holiday. I'd never stay at home. I'd go and live with my nan for 6 weeks. My mum and dad would be ringing me like, coming home? I'm like, no, I'm all good up here, like with nan and granddad. It's cool. So yeah, that was the hardest thing. Then I flew back to Ayia Napa. It's the worst place to be when you're going through trauma. And then George was stabbed. I got the phone call about that.
Is George one of your pals from
from
year
summers
one?
away? Yeah. So he was a mate throughout the years, and then he came out on holiday with his mate. And I was literally on the back of a moped going into a club, got a phone call from one of the lads saying, like, you need to go up to the hospital. And I'm like, what for? He's like, George has been stabbed. And I'm thinking, oh, he's like, what? But no one gets stabbed out here. You hear about shooting from the mafia and that, but that's between
them two, like the mafia and the mafia.
And then I got up to the hospital and all the lads are out the corridor, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And then went in to see one of his mates who was stabbed. I was like, what's happened? And then I just heard screaming in the corridor. Ben's had his operation, and then I just knew that George was gone then. And then one of the lads have run into the operating room, and he's already cleaned up on the table and that, dead.
What had happened for that?
Just an altercation. Even still till this day, a few of the lads that were there tell the story. We had a big chat about it on my podcast ages ago, and it's just an altercation. Some lads have just gone back down to a shop, grabbed a knife, and come back up and then stabbed him and that. And then it was in his throat. And then one of the lads had run in the operating room. I've grabbed him, and then the woman's like lifted off the sheet for him to see it, and I was just like, fuck. Then I had to fly back.
So you saw him?
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw him on the table. Then I had to fly back, bury my nan, go back out to Ayia Napa, and then come back, bury George.
Mate, your head must have been all over the place.
Yeah, scramble, bro.
Yeah.
Mad. But, you know, like, yeah, again, all the trauma I'd been through when I was a kid as well was just like, I kept running away and living life at 100 miles an hour. I've never had time to process anything. And 10 years ago, you don't know what mental health is. So I'm taking steroids, I'm drinking, I'm sleeping with loads of like all of these toxic stuff. How would I ever have the time to process anything?
Yeah.
You know?
It's like when you're too busy to feel like anxiety. You know, when like some people say like they're so busy, they're on 100 miles an hour that like there's no time to look at like the repercussions or the actions.
Yeah.
Or there's no time to look back and like digest that situation, because you're just focused on moving forward.
Definitely. Like, you have to understand the actions that we do today is going to like, you have to act as if the person in 5 years that you are is going to thank you.
Yeah, for sure. But obviously, mate, at that point, you are on fucking 100 miles per hour, it's fair to say.
There wasn't a day where something wasn't going in my body that there shouldn't have been.
Yeah, and also, like, probably fair to say, like, not really digesting the situations.
Like, even my nan passing away, mate, like, I cried my eyes out. And then, I just didn't even know how to process it. So I was like, fuck, like, I'm going away again. So buried my nan, buried George. Then I went to a night out in Birmingham. This woman's basically come up to me who I had a bit of a thing with in the summer and was just like, I had an abortion. Like, it's like, how you dropping me on this? Like, literally, like, in the space of 3 months. I'm like, so I've lost my nan, lost George. This girl's got rid of a baby. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So then my mates were like, look, we're going to IB for next year. Come out. And they were like, look, we're going to set something up over there. We need your help. And I was like, fuck it, I'm there, mate. Bang, back in the car, steroids.
When you say steroids at that point, what are we talking?
Oh, mate, probably like Deca, Anavar, fucking Test, Tren, Mastron, all would have been taken within the space of like 6 months.
Yeah, I've done tests. I've done a few cycles of test as well. And like, I found that depending on the dosage, I found my sweet spot now, but I've overdone it with it. And when I've overdone it with it, it's clouded my judgment.
Yeah.
And not only clouded my judgment, but it's also like meant that I've made actions, which I look back at now and I'm like, that's the test.
I was a prick, mate.
You must have been
certified prick. Like,
I was about to say, you must have been a fucking...
Yeah, horrible.
You must have been like acting on emotion.
Horrible. And I thought I was being normal, but I was violent, I was angry, I was scared, I was anxious, I was going through pain. There's actually a photo of me shredded. And I look at it now and there's so much pain behind the eyes and I'm in immaculate. I could have gone on stage. And for me, I think steroids was a comfort for like, go gym. And then if I'm in shape, that's my focus. Doesn't matter what happens. As long as I get my meals in, I've got this process, I've got this structure.
I know that feeling where like everything else can be going wrong. But as long as you're in good shape, it feels like you're kind of moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
But you're not.
Yeah.
It makes you feel productive.
Yeah. But like you're masking everything else by just being in good shape.
Yeah. It works though.
It does.
It does, but all that gets fed is your ego, and then everyone's on at you for being in shape and that, and you're getting that praise. But you got to remember, like, young scared Brad is just built up. This inner child is just in this this avatar that isn't actually. So my body, me as a human being who look at as a front and attitude, wasn't actually connecting to the inner child that was screaming out for love and a cuddle.
What's it like? You said a minute ago that you looked at a picture of yourself and all you could see was pain. What's it like looking back on the old Brad?
Just thank that old Brad for everything. Like, thank you for carrying me. Thank you for getting me through all the hard times. Like, I thank the younger me, because I don't hold no hate.
So, just touch back on the whole Ibiza thing. You said that you went out there to set someone up. What's the summit? Is it a business? What's going on?
Yeah, it was a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mad. It was crazy. Like, it was a great life with the boys. It was just making more money than I've ever known what to do with. A lot of paranoia, a lot of anxiety, a lot of hassle. Massive level that it went to.
Would you say that you'd masked all the traumatic events that had happened?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It got to the stage where, like, as long as I was sleeping with many and making money and being in shape, nothing else mattered.
It felt like it was going on the right.
Yeah,
right
but to me, that became the normal. Yeah. That became the normal, to live that life and make.
Temperature gauge had risen to that being like a normal state.
Yeah, I would look back at people when they're getting up and going to work and they're fucking dreading what they're doing. I just think, you're morons, mate. Yeah, I was the moron.
But the thing is, I can't help but still feel like that now, even in hindsight, when I look at people that work shit jobs and don't enjoy it, and I'm just like, why'd you do it then?
Yeah, but everyone, it's the money. I don't give a fuck. If I had to, universe, I'm not putting this out to you, if a job that I hated I was doing, I would go back to my parents' house, and I would just become a person I admire and then just give that person to the fucking world. But everyone automatically thinks that you go into a job and that's how you're meant to live life. And touching back on learning everything, that is one of the things. But I was lucky because my dad's a grafter, but I saw what he had to do to create what he did, and I was like, I'm not doing that.
Mate, it baffles me when I look at someone who's in like a bang average job at like 25k, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, as long as you're grafting and like that's what you got to do, and if you've got responsibilities, I understand. But like 25k average job, 30k, but they hate it, and I'm just like, why don't you just go and do something that's a bit funner, and then you'll enjoy it? Like, you know, even if you wanted to be like something that's like, not say success wasn't monetary for you, the value of it wasn't, but you enjoyed, like, I don't know, outdoor water sports. Like, just go and be an outdoor water like sports instructor, and you'll make the same dough. Yeah,
the thing is though, is you can see it from the other side of it, because they might have grown up and been instilled by their parents that is the way to do it, and it's almost like trying to retract back onto the limiting beliefs and whatever they've been taught. Sometimes it's difficult, mate, because it's almost like a habitual thought in the subconscious that that's what they think they should be doing. So that's
how their paradigm's wired.
That's what I mean. So for us, it's easier for us to say that here, but there's people out there who might disagree because they haven't had the exposure to the information, or they don't have the knowledge.
Yeah, it's weird though, because I could never understand where I got my get up and go from, because
must have been your dad, no?
Yeah, the get up and go was there from my dad, but
do you think it might have been the bullying?
Yeah, the individuality was probably came from the bullying and not being normal. Because if you look at it, my brother went and worked on building sites. He was getting up. I was hearing him get up at like 5-6 o'clock, mate. And my dad was like taking him to work, sorting him jobs. And then when it come to me, I was just like, absolutely not. There's no. I was like, it doesn't make sense, to go out of a warm, cozy bed to go and stand on a building site. And I've done one day, and this geezer rocked up in a brand new BMW, didn't want to get his shoes dirty, getting out the car to go into the office across this fucking building site. And I'm sat there like a mug cleaning bricks, fucking once I've done it. And I literally turned and I left straight away. And I was like, no, mate, not a fucking chance.
Mate, I had to work on site when I was like 16, and I had to carry these fucking cement blocks up two sets of scaffolding. And I always remember I got a cherry picker and loaded the cherry picker up with like 12, and then like put it up to the top, and obviously saved myself like all the aggro and like the fucking riskiness of going up this ladder in like boots that were 2 sizes too big for me. And the bloke there started having a massive go at me, and I just remember thinking like, you're a fucking idiot, mate. Like, I've done 12 bricks in the same time. Like,
yeah, it was never ever for me. I was just I could never do it, man.
The thing is though, you learn quite a lot working on a building site. I worked on a building site for years, and you do actually learn graft, and also you learn the fact that you have to start from the bottom and actually work your way up.
Yeah,
hierarchy.
my dad's
There
done
is.
that. My dad started at a labourer, and then just now he's like one of the top boys at his gaff.
Mate, there's nothing worse than being a T-boy on
Nah,
site.
definitely not.
I used to like it.
Yeah.
I'd be
At
like,
least, at least
you get a
the
little bit of time off.
At least the fucking office was warm to make a tea, mate.
I'd go and get the teas, mate, when I was on site. I'd be in there for about 45 minutes.
Tee it up 20 minutes before break session. I'll go sort out, boys. So just to pull back, mate, you're in Ibiza.
Any
Spend the year
mad,
out there.
any mad nights out there?
All of them, mate. Yeah, like so we were making so much money that we weren't used to it. To be fair, like ridiculous. And then you just get sucked in. You know, it become the normal to do like 500 to $1,000 on a night out, and then you live that lifestyle, and then the paranoia comes with it, and then
Your ego,
Through
don't
the
get me wrong,
roof.
mate, your ego must have been huge.
through the roof. You can't. I was probably the only lad in my city with my two best mates that were going out there and just doing the level of what we were doing. Do you know what I mean? And then
Also out in Ibiza, like we've been a few times, like probably like the funnest place on earth.
yeah, you can't. Like thing is though, when you go out and you're doing what we were doing out there, like you come back. When do you stop? Because you've got unlimited everything. So when do you call it a day? You just can't. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but that was with my two best mates, and we actually met up over there last year for the first time since we've done a summer together. We actually managed to get a weekend together, and it was the best experience with them two lads I've ever met. But it was also the start of our spirituality journey.
Talk to us about that then. When you say, sorry, this time you went back, or the 5th year that you were in Ibiza was the start?
No,
of
the fifth. My 6th year of doing a summer away was the Ibiza one, and that was actually the journey of like I actually started reading The Secret and The Power of Now, and I went over there because of when my nan passed away to have a decent mindset. So I started to get into personal development in between when my nan passed away and my last year of summer away. So I went out to Ibiza with this mindset that you can achieve anything. So my ego was like through the roof, mate. Do you know what I mean? Not only am I achieving all of these things, but I'm using law of attraction without even knowing it.
And you're jacked.
And I'm jacked.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. Being jacked makes such a difference,
Jacked and
mate.
tanned, mate. You can't beat it.
You can't.
Even till this day, like it's gym 5 times a week and at least a sunbed once
Standard,
a week.
mate. Yeah.
So yeah, that was an amazing experience, and I started getting spirituality. Then obviously when you go on a roll through with the boys and that, and you're in the apartment and then you're talking about the world and the universe and that, then
And you're pinging.
like
Yeah.
that was my first experience. And my friend Jordan actually went on to, he's like in Australia now. That was the start of his journey. I'm like going deep into spirituality.
How good are those nights with the boys? Like after like a big party and like you come home and like
Can't beat it. Like I remember we'd just
best.
always be on the terrace at Amnesia,
terrace, yeah.
Marco Corolla music on, and you'd look round, and we had this rule that like if anyone's coming back for an afters, it has to be cleared by the 3 of us. It has to be, yes. The lads would look at me every time. It's like pointless asking you. I'm like, no cunt is coming back. Like, he's so rare
Mate,
that
I
someone
hate
was
that,
coming
though.
back. Yeah, I'm like, if I'm getting on it, yeah, you've got to be in a safe environment.
Yeah.
No dickheads. Like I remember our first night, these random kids come back, which is why the rule come in place. This kid wants to throw himself off the balcony, mate. I'm like, I'm fucking you, dude. Like, get out now. You're ruining it. So
I want someone who's on a level where I can like deliver a fucking TED talk and
Yeah.
they're invested. They're buying in like
Yeah.
definitely.
Them vibes.
Unfortunately, I'm doing them TED Talks sober now, but over there, I definitely did do a few. But yeah, it was a great experience. But at the end of it was just when it all come crashing down, man. But,
Tell us about it.
so I remember there was just one time. So my mate, 2 of my pals got nicked, and basically when the Guardia Civil know who you are over there, you're fucked because you'll always
Tell
do
the
a
police.
Yeah. So they got nicked, and then I was left to do everything on my own for the last 2 months, and obviously paranoia was just through the fucking roof. Obviously when you're going out and you're getting anxious and all this, and then I come home and I was at Ocean Beach once and I just got so paranoid. I got back to my apartment, just burst out crying, and my 2 best mates have come running down and they're like, what the fuck is happening with him? Like they're never ever, I remember I'm this strong lad that's there for everyone, and then that was the start of my breakdown. I'm 100%.
Do you reckon it was partially the party and like
Yeah,
the drugs
definitely,
as
100%.
well?
It was the lifestyle, but then when I got back, I actually tried to go out, and I was getting paranoid and stuff, and then I knew that I was mentally unwell. But I'd experienced anxiety and probably a bit of depression, but where I was just at 100 miles an hour, you know, like I was fucked.
It's all caught up with you, I know.
Yeah, massively. And then when I got home, like,
So at that point, did you obviously your pals come downstairs? Do you open up to them about it or?
first thing I just said is just my nan. And then my other mates that were at Ocean Beach, they were over on holiday, and they just come in and they were like, is it his nan? And they were like, yeah. But it started to get to the point where just like everything that I'd been through in my life. Like, I come home and I was with this girl. She come out there for the summer as well, and then that didn't go well. And then I just got so depressed. I was like, look, I need to leave this situation. I need to sort myself out and that. So everything I'd ever been through as a child leading up until then, it was almost as if like the video game had stopped.
Boiling point.
Yeah, the lads were going to fucking South America. They was going to Colombia. And
Fuck me, that's risky.
for my own safety, it was like, luckily I was with someone, so it was like, I can't go. Do you know what I mean? But every day I'm questioning, like, just get on the flight and just go. But then I'm so happy that I faced it there and then. And they were some of the darkest times I've ever experienced in my life. Like, I would not wish that on anyone.
So at that point, is this when you decide to fly home from Ibiza?
So I saw the summer out.
Yeah.
Because I just had to see the summer out. And then what happened was I was just like, fucked. Got home. My mental health was just absolutely free. I was drinking maybe a bottle of wine a night just to be able to go to sleep, to get rid of anxiety. Then I'd be waking up on edge. But there was nothing out there about anxiety and depression like there is now. There was no platforms like TikTok. There was no platforms like Instagram, really. So I didn't have a clue what was going on. I'm just having this mad battle in my head every day. And I was going to the gym, a place that I loved. And I was like, come back, again, straight on cycle. And it was the worst thing I ever done. I had to stop. And I couldn't even go to the gym. I was so nervous. Couldn't even speak to the receptionist on the counter because I was so fucking nervous. And I knew her. My self-esteem hit rock bottom. I'd gone from this person with a massive fucking ego to nothing. Like, literally, when I say nothing, yeah, I wouldn't even want to see anyone driving my car.
How long is this going on for?
That went on for probably from September, October 2018. And then March 2018 was when I really, really started to realise about my mental health. And then I reckon it took me maybe a good solid year of battling.
So how old were you when this first started kicking in?
23, I think.
23.
Well,
That's young to be experiencing all this as well.
yeah, mate.
It's also like the turning point, innit? When you get to like 25, well, I don't know about you, but for me, it was like 25. It was like, fuck me, I need to sort my shit out.
You have to remember that I had no life skills growing up. All I knew was to get back in a car and go and make money a certain way, which causes you anxiety doing what you're doing. So it was just a massive cycle that I couldn't actually get out of.
What's happening to the relationships at that point with family, friends?
Fact, like with my mum and dad, it was always good. They was there and supportive for me and that, like in between summers. But I know my dad and my relationship sort of took a little bit of a hit when I got the drug ban, because that was like our thing, like him coming to watch me play a high level of rugby, like up and down the country and stuff. Like, then there wasn't actually much in common, because obviously when you start doing someone's away, you lose interest in rugby. Like, it just goes, do you know what I mean? So then I think they were just probably more worried and concerned about me, because imagine just seeing your child living at 100 miles an hour, going out, having loads of money, everyone's getting up and going to work. And that was my life. To them, that's not normal. To me, that was normal. To what they were doing wasn't normal to me. So I would judge them and probably have a bit of an attitude like, you're going to fucking work for other people. Blah, blah, blah. But really, in hindsight, I was just a lost child getting even more lost. So
whilst you're drinking, you mentioned drinking a bottle of wine a night. Is that not just like an evolving roundabout? Like, you're drinking a bottle of wine, you're feeling paranoid, you're anxious, and then you wake up hungover, and then you're doing exactly the same thing again and again.
Yeah. But to me, it was like, if I'd do so well throughout the day, and then I'd get to the evening, I'd be so anxious. I think, I'll just have a drink, and then it will go. Do you know what I mean? And then you're constantly building up this fucking anxiety, and like the next day you're waking up on edge, and then everyone's going to work, everyone's got purpose, everyone's got structure. I had fuck all. I just kept having lay-ins. Then I was getting like anxious about laying in, not being productive, can't go to the gym.
You need a routine, mate.
Yeah. I didn't have no routine and structure.
So it's the routine that's the key, mate.
Yeah, it's so true. Structure and routine is everything. So was there a point where you actually sort of sat up or consciously thought like, this has got to stop? Because
yeah, well, I remember that as well.
Turning point.
Sickest turning point ever, because this is why my life is incredible now, and I'm so grateful for it. So I was in a relationship. She made me fucking miserable. And I remember once I was like struggling, and I was like, look, I'm not happy anymore. Like, you're going out on the weekend. I'm a family man. Even in my relationship now, I don't really see many friends. If you're watching this, I do love you. Every Saturday I'll go and see my mum and dad. That's how I want to live my life. If I've got a missus, I expect it. Like, you know, if you want something, book it, pre-book it in, you know. Like, I'm at that age now where you don't need to be, I don't even entertain going out. Like,
Yeah, mate, it's shit.
Going to London today, I will not be drinking. I don't give a fuck. Can't wait to wake up tomorrow and meditate. That's my life.
But we're at that stage now as well, mate. So
Going out is just crap.
Like, if you're above 25 and 26 and you're still going out every weekend, like, one, what the fuck are you celebrating? Because you better have had a good week to go and have that drink.
Yeah.
Two, think about it. Whenever we get a job, or whenever we get for me, not a job, whenever we get a good bit of news, everyone's like, oh, let's go out and celebrate. All right, cool. So I'm going to take a substance, which is alcohol, to enjoy my night, to celebrate how good my week has been or how good this achievement is. But then in the morning, I'm going to wake up and feel the complete opposite to how I feel now. So why would I go from flow state, the highest frequency, to feeling absolutely on the floor and lowering your
it's
vibration?
almost like habitual as well.
Also, not to mention, you're going to feel like that for 3 days after.
Yeah, that's it, mate. And if you feel like that for 3 days, you have 10 nights out, that's 30 days throughout the year. So instead of 365 days, that's 335 days you're actually doing something.
The thing is, when we used to go out, we went through a stage of it like being amazing, and then I remember like maybe a year before we stopped drinking, I'd ring Jack on a Monday or Sunday night, sorry. But mate, I feel like shit. I feel a bit anxious. Like, and we'd both be like, "What are we doing? Why are we still going out?" But we still did it for like a year.
It's just, do you know what it is? You just get caught up in other people's expectations.
Yeah.
And because at that stage, you know, I was living with another lad who was like a bit of a party boy as well. And obviously with that, you just get caught up in it. And it's like, if he's going out and there's birds over and then there's like people coming over before and then we're going out and then they all come back to yours, you're obviously going to go.
Yeah. It's crazy. And then I just imagine just having this massive epiphany, and I was just like, fuck this. Like, I was waking up every single morning crying and begging my mum not to go to work at 23 years of age. I literally was just like, please don't go to work, because my mum and dad were scared that if they left that house, would they have a son to come home to?
It was that bad.
Yeah, it was that bad. They was ringing me like fucking easily, like 5 times each a day, just like, how are you doing? You all right? What you up to? Couldn't leave the house. Would wake up on edge, beg my mum not to go to work. My mum would I'd lay in bed with my mum for like an hour, beg her not to go to work. The dog would never chill on my bed, so we had to go downstairs so then I could spend the day on the sofa with my dog. Bearing in mind, I don't have to worry about money or bills at this point, so everything was fine. Then I'd be chilling with the dog, and then my mum and dad would come home, then I'd be sat with them, then that was the cycle. And it got one morning, I was just waking up, and I'm just like, I'm so sad of being sad that if I don't do something about this, I will kill myself, because I was waking up looking at the back of my door, like, if I just hang off the back of this door, like, everything's over. Like, this suffocation, the pain, like, the overthinking, the worrying, the anxiety, the trauma, like, and I hadn't even dealt with half this stuff. Like, I was sexually abused when I was younger, so then that came into my mindset, and I'm like, fuck, like, and I'm not going away again in May. So my safety net in May, there was no focus. It was just like, fuck, I've got no job. Like, the money's going down. There's no one coming to drag me out of bed. Like, I'm just depressed as fuck. And obviously on the outside, people have no idea that this was going on. It's just literally me, my mum, my dad, and 2 of my best mates that were in South America. And they were ringing me every day to be like, how are you? You good? Do you want to come out here with us? Like, we've got you. Don't worry about it. And I was like, no. I need to face this. Like, I need to face this. And then, I just remember one morning I woke up and I put on YouTube, just put in the word like positive or affirmation or something like that. Oprah Winfrey come up, and I'll never forget this video. It's her talking about The Secret with other people. And I watched that same video from the moment I woke up for like 40 minutes. And instead of waking up thinking, right, you're going to hang off the back of the door and just end your life, I'm waking up being told I can achieve anything I set my mind to. Then I started reading. Then I started going, right, every day, I'm just going to put a bit of washing away. I hung it up in my room, and I looked at all of my rugby shirts. I looked at everything, and I just thought, you have had some life. At 23, quite happily, if I would have called it a day then, I would have had a brilliant life. There's not one thing I've never been able to do.
Mate, for sure. And also, like, that positive reinforcement is the spark, right?
Yeah.
It's like what Jim Rohn says. He says, like, your mind is a garden. You need to de-weed it every day.
So, like, I realised that, like, me getting in shape, like, your diet's so hard to get in immaculate shape. So then I started to realise what was going into my brain is just as important, right? The fuel that's going into my body, more important. 95% of our brains are subconscious. Everything thought that we have is the reason why we are who we are. So then I just become obsessed with personal development, went down to the doctors and was like, I need help. They were like...
So how was that moment?
Shit, mate. I went with my mum and they were like, antidepressants. Then asked me, have you got any structure? Have you got any routine? Like, why do you feel this way? What thoughts are going through your head? Tried to give me antidepressants, said no. Then the next day was when I become obsessed, because I was like, if they put me on antidepressants and I don't get better, I'm never going to make it out of this.
So when you say become obsessed, Become obsessed with what?
Obsessed with like making myself the best version of me. Not for anyone else, but for me and my mum.
Bro, have you got a obsessive personality?
Yeah, but 100%.
Yeah.
100% caramel lattes at the moment, mate. That's about as mad as my life's getting. But it's that, and you know what? I've got an obsession with making people happier, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because everything I ever been through, no one helped me. I had CBT, but it was shit. It was like, bless her, trainee nurse. And I'm like, look, have you ever tried to end your life or ever thought about ending your life? She's like, no, but I've been to university. I'm like, how can you relate to me? So then I become obsessed with learning. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that was when I stopped doing stuff to make money, because it wasn't. I needed structure and routine. I got my old phone back, went out and done what I needed to do. Then I just started learning. And I just got to the point where it's just like, I'm happy. I'm in a really, really good headspace now.
So how did that momentum start building? So it started with you doing like a bit of washing, bit of this, bit of that. Like, did you start going back to the gym at that point?
Yeah, like earning the right to feel like shit. So my mate was coming over, picking me up, taking me to the gym and then dropping me back. And then every time everyone was like, how are you doing? I found myself always telling everyone like, I'm struggling mentally at the moment, you know, victim mindset. Then I started to realise like if I'm telling people I'm unwell, I am unwell. I'm speaking that into existence. 100%. So then I started to realise, like, and this is at a young age, learning how your brain works like this, which is unique as fuck. Then I started to go, if I have one person, which is my mum, that I know that I can go to with anything, if I'm having a shit day, every single person I come into contact with on a daily basis, as long as I promise myself that I go to my mum when I need to talk, I'm telling them all right. So everyone was like, how you doing? And even though I'm dying inside, want to cry and just be like, I'm fine, I'm struggling, I'll be like, I'm good, mate. Today's good. Like, how you doing? You're all right. Then I started to speak that into existence, and then I just become a fucking animal, mate. Like, literally just obsessed from the moment I woke up to the moment I go to sleep. And I remember on March the 18th, 2018, I put out on social media that I was battling my mental health. And from that day, I was producing content like on my story, just like writing positive things, and I just couldn't stop. Once I started, I just couldn't stop.
Tell us about the first time you put something out there, because putting something out there is difficult, right?
Yeah. Oh, loads of people would just be like, what the fuck? And then I just didn't care.
They didn't know though, right? Because you
had no idea. But then when I put out that I was struggling, after that was just positive stuff. And what was happening is, probably sometimes I wasn't feeling like that on a daily basis, but I was manifesting that outcome for me. I was speaking about it, then I was becoming it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like, instead of externally focusing on myself so much, internally I just started to create this person that I wanted to just, I needed to admire myself. And then once you create a person that you admire, you give that person to the world, and that is anyone's purpose in life.
For sure. Act as if and you will become.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So like my habits, like even now, like my bed sheets, fucking just never needed to get these certain bed sheets, yeah. But like, how would a millionaire sleep? How would he wake up? What would
Silk, baby.
What would what would the thoughts be when he wakes up in a moment? So I just started building habits as if I was already that person.
So how long did that recovery stage take? I call it a recovery stage, but from rock bottom, when you're thinking of sort of killing yourself, to pick yourself back up?
I would say like October 2018 and then July 2019.
Isn't that mad? In like 10 months, you can change your mindset from being that negative to that positive. During that period, obviously, you first off start with the Oprah Winfrey video. Who do you start listening to at that point?
Tony Robbins, Jay Shetty, fucking Gerard Adams.
Gerard Adams, leaders create leaders.
Yeah, like
old school.
Tom Bailey. Like, there were so many people.
Impact Theory.
Like, this is the thing. I see it all now. Bailey, isn't it? Bailey.
Yeah.
So I was watching all of that like 6 years ago, something like that, and then I just become obsessed with it, and then I just fucking just like loved that way of looking and living at life. And then I started coming away from drinking and partying and going out, and I still done the raves and stuff, because that will always be a part of me. Do you know what I mean? I've been, I say sober, but I haven't been going out for like fucking ages. Do you know what I mean? I went to Ibiza last year, had a blowout. I'll always go after 6 months, go and have a week away, and then come back. You know, I need that to reset and feel human again.
Yeah,
we literally said this probably about 2 weeks ago. We had the lad that runs Foreverland on the podcast, and he's like going to Printworks, and he said like, oh, like, you boys should come and stuff. Yeah. And, like, we're in a car and that. We haven't been raving in ages. And we were both like, yeah, we need a fucking blowout. Like,
Yeah.
occasionally you just need one, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got a few pals at DJing out, and I'll just go and watch them, and then that'll just be it, guilt free. And that's something me and my missus actually really enjoy doing together as well. So it's not like I'll go with the lads. I never do anything without my missus anymore. Like,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to listen and learn from something because your brain's going to program it anyway. So it was, for me, it was just like just habits and structure and routine or something. Like I started my morning routine when I was like 23. I think I started like writing affirmations and being grateful and doing things a certain way, cold showers, brushing my teeth with my wrong hand. Like
Your wrong hand. That's so hard.
Triggers your central nervous system though.
That is so hard.
So
Is that with a manual or an automatic toothbrush?
I've got a manual one now. The automatic one was just doing my head in, you know. Actually, my bird left it at my mate's not long ago, so I'm actually on a manual one at the moment. But but just like just like learning about it all. People like Jim Quick. I was just picking up all of these things, and the next thing you know, you're just out of this mindset and just creating a monster. And again, it was touch and go because obviously, imagine creating a positive monster with an ego still. Isn't
it weird that when you, Jack said earlier, once you look under the rug, once you do that and start delving into that sort of content, mentally you feel like you're in a different world to some people?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in cuckoo land.
Waking up,
that's
what they say.
I have done for like the last 5 years. I've just felt like such an individual in absolute cloud cuckoo land. Yeah, because it was only 2 years ago I actually decided, like a year and a half ago, like shit. So I started personal training and still being involved in a few other things, and then I was like, I woke up one morning, I was like, I'm done with this. Sold the phone. I was just like, fuck this. And then I was just like, my mate asked me he's like, will you life coach me? Because obviously the content I'm putting out.
So let's pull back on that. So at that point, your personal training, you decide to focus on that.
Yeah.
And then are you creating content around personal training at that point?
Yeah, but just like positive. People would come, I hated personal training. Like I hated it. Like people would just be doing reps and that, and I'd just wait until they're tired and be like 12. I hated it. I hated it. And then my mate was honestly the worst, mate. Like if I had a client and I had a bird on the go, like I'd just be texting. Like I just wasn't in it. It was people coming to me for a positive mindset, but they knew I was like that, so it wasn't like I was taking money off. They knew who they were coming to. Do you know what I mean? And people would just come to me. It was like a little therapy session, like positive, just like push them in the right direction. Then my mate was like,
"Oh, is that where the coaching starts? But like not from a fitness perspective, but more like mental."
More like mental, yeah. Because obviously I've come out of a breakdown, been honest about it on social media. So people were like, right, I want to go and learn from that guy. So built up a great fucking PT business. My friend Jake owns Amplified Nutrition. He was like, look, do it under the brand. You got the credibility straight away. Done that. Hit the ground running. It was amazing. Met some amazing people. Some that I'm still in touch with at the moment. And my mate was just like, look, can you life coach me? I've seen all this stuff that you're putting out on social media. Like, can you teach me? And I was just like, yeah, disclaimer. I can only go on what I've learned. I can only go on my life experiences. I'm not taking your money. I don't even know how much to charge you. He was like, well, how about 200 quid a month? I was like, yeah, done. I was like, I'll give you certain things to do and I'll just learn along the way. I'm not promising you any outcomes, but if you do what I tell you to do and we agree on it, like, I know that what's helped me will be able to help you.
So what were those certain things that you were saying to do?
Just structure, routine and discipline. So this is why I offer a service that I wish I had, because I believe my job is so fucking easy, because all I have to do when I'm producing content or I'm coaching people would just be like, what would 23-year-old Brad need right now? And then I just offer that to the world. So like, even with my content, what would 23-year-old Brad want to see?
It's an anchor, isn't it?
It's an anchor, that's it. And I just basically, like, every day I'm just talking to my younger self, and I'm just like, putting out a service that's so relatable to so many people. And this is why I'm so grateful of everything I've ever been through, because it's very rare that a client will come to me and I won't be able to work with them, because everyone needs structure, everyone needs routine, everyone needs discipline. I am brutal, I'm honest, I don't sugarcoat things, because I had people that were like, oh, it's going to be all right, you know, especially my mum and that. She's like, look, you get through it. I needed someone to tell me, like, bro, like in 2 weeks, if you don't crack and fucking sort your shit out, you're going to die.
Yeah, you need to fix up.
And in my first year of coaching, I had 100 clients. And it was literally just like...
So how does it grow, mate? Because like going from 1 to 100 is a big jump, right?
Yeah, so like it was in drips and drabs. So like people would come to me for like a month. Then over the course of the year, I actually looked back on my fucking Calendly link and it was like 100 people. And I was like, raw. I was like, fucking hell, that's mad, you know. And then it just come from speaking my truth on a daily basis. Like just be it. First of all, the first thing I had to do was become someone I admire. Because there's my credibility.
That's almost a double-ended sword again, because it's like accountability. Do you Do you know what I mean? It's like it's such a decent way of like maneuvering it, because it's like I'm gonna hold you accountable, and through holding you accountable, I'm gonna have to hold myself accountable.
Yeah, I have to show up every single day without fail. Like the days that I don't want to get out of bed, I just visualize my clients and I have to show up.
Yeah, you best be on point. Yeah.
Every day, bro. Every day. Like if a client messages me at 5 a.m, like I'm there for them. Do you know what I mean? Like I wake up early enough. I'm there for them to be able to like, I'm there for them from the moment they wake up to the moment that they go to bed. That's a service that I needed, a service that I didn't have. So now this is a service that I offer to the fucking world.
So how does the coaching develop? Because at the start you got no skill set.
Not a clue, mate. Basically just like, why you fucked up. I've been through, and they'd be like, I've been through this. I'm like, right, cool. And I had no clue at the start. And I spent like $5,000 on a business coach, and they were like, right, put content out. And I was just like, put it all out. And I was just like, well, when people were coming on the call, like, I didn't even really know to run a 12-week program, didn't know who to trust to be able to help me, because obviously life coaching is actually only just starting. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't really know, but I just knew that I could hold a good conversation for an hour. And if someone can feel better after an hour and I can give them some homework to go away and do, that was good enough for them. Do you know what I mean?
How nice was it having those conversations with people, knowing that they're going to feel better after that hour?
Best feeling in the world. The only way that I would reach depression is that I couldn't do it every minute of every day.
Is there someone that you remember throughout the journey of those 100 clients that like stands out to you, that's just like, fuck me, like I actually made like a significant difference on their life, and it means something? Not that everything else don't mean something to you, but like that one stands out in particular.
Good question. That like, I've not lost a client to suicide, like, and I've had a lot, like hell of a lot. I'd say like 70% of my clients have wanted to end their life, and I guarantee within 12 weeks I'll have them out of depression. There's a guy called one of my first ever clients was Paul. He was the first ever one I actually offered on a monthly package coaching program, and he didn't want to be seen in public, couldn't go to restaurants. Like his relationship was on the rocks. Everything you could possibly imagine, job-wise, everything was fucked. He come to me and I was like, yeah, let's get it done. Let's do it. And then within 12 weeks, man, he's like, his brother sent me this video of him dancing at a festival. And this is going from a guy that couldn't book to go to a restaurant because he'd be too nervous. Now he's dancing at a festival, drink and drug free, happy with the missus, got a job that he loves. And that was when it was like light bulb moment. It was like, whew, you've done that.
Yeah. How do you detach yourself from holding yourself accountable for what could potentially happen to these people? Because, I mean, if say I was suicidal, come to you and you were coaching me and something like bad happened to me in terms of like I committed suicide, like, do you ever think about...
No, it never happened.
But I mean, like, I'm not saying it would happen. I'm saying like throughout the process of coaching them, do you not have to detach yourself from the end result could potentially go one way or the other?
Nah, you can't think like that, because then again, like, what are you speaking into reality? Do you know what I mean? So like when people come to me, if there's any doubt, I shouldn't really... If they're... Basically, I had a client come to me recently, hasn't told me full depth of what's going on with him, walking around Tesco, and then he's starting telling me about demons and spirits and that, and I'm like, mate, you did not tell me this on a consultation.
Hefty.
Yeah, still was just like, bro, I'm there for you, do you know what I mean? And then he's flying. He's been going to doctors, he's been going to therapy, he's been going everything. Everyone's just lobbing all these letters at him like ADHD and all of this shit. Bro, the geezer's doing well. He's only been with me a month. He's doing well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will sit here and I will be arrogant and I will be cocky that like I know my shit enough because I care. It's not because of education, it's because I give a shit and I know how these people brain work because I was that guy.
And it's also, sorry to interrupt, it's also like basics, isn't it? Like you get a routine, you improve your diet, you start training, you start taking like more action in your life. It would be weird if it didn't result in improvement.
It's how we look at life as well. It's like, there's no negatives in my life. There's nothing that pops up, nothing. So like, everything's a blessing. The fact that we get to wake up in the morning and fill our bed sheets is like a blessing, man. 150,000 people die on a daily basis. You don't realise how lucky you are to just wake up. You don't realise how lucky we are to have water running out of tap. You don't realise how lucky we are to just have food out of the fridge. Everything else is a bonus. Car, house, success, money, love. Everything else is a blessing if you just get to wake up.
But do you think that it's to be able to realise that is gratitude, that you have to go to the depths of the lows and the lows that you
No, definitely not, because it just comes to the fact of not being too stubborn and arrogant to learn, because a lot of people will be in a good headspace and think they'll stay in a good headspace, but imagine the better headspace you can be in once you trigger your gratitude to be alive. But some people are so arrogant and naive to it, because imagine telling someone, just be grateful, think about something, and the universe will serve you that.
What are you thinking about now to be grateful for?
I'm thinking about my family.
Yeah, my mum comes in my head straight
Yeah, it's
The
away.
first thing I was thinking
Everything comes down to it now. When I made the most amount of money I've ever made, I was the most unhappiest I've ever been. But the best thing, no matter how much I was battling my depression, my happiest part was crying on the bed with my mum because I felt safe. So I could have had anything I ever wanted in the world, could have flown on any holiday I wanted to do, but I would never have felt safe. The only time I felt safe was when I was with my mum.
Isn't that mad? That is actually mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Think about it.
But then, like, once you wire that way of thinking, like, my granddad died in December, and it was out of the blue. It was gone within 32 hours, and him, like my nan, was my best mate. And that broke me. Like, I cried when I needed to cry, but I still got up at 2:30. I still was in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, because it's not because I don't care. It's because I allow myself to feel the pain. I allow myself to feel the suffering, but I don't allow myself to surrender to wasting another second in this world. Because if my granddad could face death laying in that hospital bed, knowing that he's going to pass away, I owe it to him. I owe it to the world. I owe it to people that are dying, that aren't going to wake up the next day, to wake up and make every single second count.
Yeah, I rate it, mate. I genuinely do. I'm all for that mindset, but at the same time, it's difficult sometimes to be conscious of that thought process when you're caught up just in day-to-day life.
Yeah.
You say that though, but then it's lifestyle choices, isn't it? I've literally just proved in one sentence
For
that
sure,
you can do it in the hardest times.
I'm backing you 100%, but I'm just like, from my perspective, sometimes I forget, and then I get to have a conversation like this, or I get to listen to a bit of content, and I'm like, fucking hell, mate, it's not actually that bad.
Like, I've got 5 alarms that go off throughout the day, and it just says "Thank you, I am."
Nice.
Every like 2 hours, and it's just like, think about it. When someone does something for you, say thank you. Whenever you receive a present, you say thank you. Gratitude and thank you thank you is the most powerful word to show gratitude, right? And when you're at gratitude, it's the biggest state of receivership. Okay, so you're in abundance every single time you're saying thank you. So every single day when that alarm goes off for 2 hours, I'm just like, thank you. Like, thank you for being alive. Thank you for my family. Thank you for the love. Thank you for my clients. And then I'll just do an affirmation. Like, I am powerful. I am strong. I am successful. Now, if you're planting that every 2 hours in your subconscious, that is your belief system.
I might try that for a month.
Yeah.
Just see, and at the end of the month, I'll message you with the results. I'll start that from tomorrow.
You'll notice it within a week, mate. How can you not? Do you know what I mean? Like, I have some days where I'm exhausted. I just had a week gone where I've just been absolutely knackered, and I've listened to myself. I've surrendered and gone, I'm going to go and wake up, do my bits, go to the gym, come home, chill, no work.
Isn't it funny that discipline is just the answer to everything?
Yeah.
Discipline in downtime as well is key, because a lot of people feel guilty having downtime, but if you're disciplined because you know that you need it, you will not create guilt. Guilt and shame should lead everyone on their path to where they need to be. So if you eat, let's go back to food. If you eat something and you feel guilt and shame for doing it, don't do it again. That is your calling from your higher power that you should not be fucking doing that. If you've got a missus and you're texting another bird, or you're looking at another bird and you feel guilty and shame for it, that is your higher power guiding you that you should not be doing that. And we don't realise that guilt and shame, I believe, is the most positive tool we can use, because you're being guided. You should feel so much guilt and shame, because I wish I could feel guilt and shame 100 times a day, because I'm going to get to that fucking person I admire a hell of a lot quicker. Do you understand? So these mistakes that we feel guilt and shame for, is like, right, buzzing, don't dwell on it. Don't let it lower your vibration. What can I learn from this? I know this feels terrible, so I am going to make sure that I never have this feeling again.
Yeah, they call it your moral compass.
Yeah.
So like, it's your inner self telling you that you know that action is not reciprocated with where you want to get to.
Yeah, 100%. And I had it the other day. Like, I went to bed, I didn't get my 8,000 steps in. I only done like 4,000. And I went to sleep, and my bitch part of my brain just won. I was just exhausted. BMW had my car. It was pissing down with rain. My mate was like, do you want to lift to the office? And I was like, nah, it's good. I walked 20 minutes to the office to punish myself, because I was a drowned rat. I was soaking wet. I had a consultation to get to. Everyone was walking past. Someone could have drove past in a puddle. Would have been that guy that ended up on fucking TikTok absolutely soaked. But I stopped and I just looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, this is what it feels like to let yourself down. This is what it feels like to break a promise to yourself. And then I'm walking, and then I'm thinking, like, this is horrible. Then gratitude. Someone could be looking out this window that's paralyzed. I'd love to just go and dance in that rain.
It's about like actually programming the mind for those conscious thoughts. Mate, I've got something for you actually. I've got a treadmill that goes underneath my desk.
Sick.
And then I've got a raised stand, so like you can prop it up on your desk.
I'm actually thinking about getting
I'll send
one
you
of
it
them
after
ones.
this.
Yeah,
it's decent.
do it. Yeah.
But obviously I want to pull back. So you started coaching. I'm really interested in terms of like demographics I can imagine a lot of your clients, I guess predominantly are males, right?
Yeah, I do have at the moment. I do have a few females with me at the moment.
But like mostly males. What's like common across like the coaching you've seen for those like young lads?
It's lack of confidence, depression, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, purpose. It's a mixture of everything, really.
What do you think, like, in terms of, is there like common themes throughout all of these like lads that you're doing?
Yeah, there's just like no... What I was learning at 23 is what everyone should have been learning. So they have no idea that how they feel now doesn't have to be permanent. And I had a lad come to me and it was like, his brother got in touch and was like, mate, I want to end it. I want to call it a day. And he was like, can you help me? And I said to his brother, like, mate, I can help him. Yeah, I'll get him on a call straight away. And then the next day, he's like, I spoke to him literally an hour later. And the next day, he was like, antidepressants. I said, just give me a week. Just give me 1 week. And if you still feel like you do now, then by all means, mate, I'll give you a lift to the doctors myself to go and get him. Within a week, he's just like, no, I can see the tunnel now. Do you know what I mean? So it's very, very hard to understand or explain my style of coaching until I get in that chair, because once I get into that flow state, I will not leave that call until someone has learned something that has come on and all of their insecurities and worries from the past week have gone. And all of the education, all of the learning just comes out. And I care so much, mate. I care you can't even imagine how much I care about
It must
people.
just be such a beautiful feeling getting on a call and like somebody not facilitating what they said they were going to do in terms of committing suicide or something like that.
Yeah, it's
must be amazing.
It's the best feeling in the world. Like this Christmas gone was probably one of the most powerful Christmases I've ever had in my life, because all of my clients were just like, thank you so much. And the ones that were battling their mental health, I knew that their parents had their son or their daughter around that table because of the work that we'd done together, and they were so close to not making it to that Christmas.
I love it, mate. I actually do. What does a typical day look like for yourself? Because you mentioned earlier you get up at 2:30, which is fucking ridiculous, by the way, mate. Like, you must be going to bed at like 7 p.m.
Jen, I think the earliest I've ever heard before is Eric Thomas, and I swear he's like 2:45, so you've topped him.
Yeah, so like 2:30, the alarm will go off, and then it's straight. Like if my missus is like, my bird knows that if I hear something and I do it, like, I'm just doing it.
Do you get the weird comment ever?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh yeah, same, mate. My missus is always like, you're
time.
weird, and I'm
yeah,
like,
she's
yeah.
like, but my missus is like, you're weird, but I love it so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, of course.
So
so what time you go to bed to get up at 2:30?
So this is the thing. It doesn't matter what time I go to bed.
You must have like a structured.
Yeah. It matters the fact that I promised myself I was getting up. I've been let down my whole life. I've been a very, very bad person as well. I'm not sitting here and saying all bad's happened to me, because I've done some savage stuff. But I just know that if I don't let myself down now, anyone else that does a positive for me, it's just a bonus. Do you know what I mean? So like, I set the standard so high how I treat myself that if anyone's polite to me throughout the day, it's just a bonus, because I'm so happy in my own head and I've earned my own respect. So I wake up.
So what time do you go to bed then on normally?
If my missus ain't too needy and she's finished work at like 5 o'clock, then I'll be asleep for like 8:30. As long as I've had a good couple of hours with her, I'm cool. Do you know what I mean?
Decent. I
got
thought
the
you
eye
were
mask on. She gets to watch her shitty little Love Island affirmations are in.
Do you get eye mask on?
Yeah, mate. I do not want to hear the shit that she watches.
I wear an eye mask. Now the thing is, my girlfriend wore it, and I used to look at her and think that literally looks ridiculous. And she goes, just try it.
It's a game changer.
I tried it on. I'm like, this is an absolute game changer.
I bought one the other day that actually has headphones in it, so I fall asleep listening to my affirmations, pitch black.
You need to get an aura ring, bro.
Mate, my mum's got me one actually, like a personal one that I wear that every time I touch it, it's just to be thankful for life.
Oh, it's nice. But mate, these track your sleep.
Do they?
Yeah, so that's
I've got the sleep cycle app.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
decent.
yeah. So that does everything for me. But like my sleep's like, I'll probably, if I get 6 hours, I'm happy.
4 sleep cycles.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Like I can function. I am at my highest thing. But you don't understand. A new day starts at 12 a.m. right? So why we sleep through it? What do you think all these elites doing at that time? We're programmed, and it's called a graveyard shift. It's a negative. But I was waking up at 2:30 to go for a piss every single day before I started making it religious to get up. Like, then I found that it's a spiritual calling between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. So I make sure I meditate between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m.
So you do an hour of meditation?
An hour of meditation a day, yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah.
Hour's too long, mate.
Wait, I wake up.
An hour is too long, bro.
Nah, mate, it's not. An hour's not long enough.
I do 15 minutes and I'm just like...
An hour. No, once you've done it, you've done the breath work and you've activated your pineal gland and you're just sitting there like... It's mad. An hour feels like 5 minutes.
How long during that hour do you think that you're actually having conscious thoughts or unconscious thoughts?
Most of it now is I'm like, it's like an out of body experience looking down on myself.
Tell us about that, because I've never had that whilst meditating.
So basically, like the breath work that you need to do, yeah, we've got certain crystals in us. So once the breath work is like getting everything up to your third eye, and you just sit there, and then I've got this certain meditation from Joe Dispenza, and what happens is I'll just visualize, and then I'm just gone. And then with it, like towards the end of it, like I will literally wake up and I'm just like this, like my body is just down. I've got no control over nothing, and I just visualize my dream life. I'll always say, like, my first ever intention that I set is always like, bring me a client that really, really needs me to serve them, you know, and like the next day a consultation will get booked in or something like that, or maybe like 2 days later. So it's changed my life completely.
An hour is mad. I've only ever done an hour a few times with you for a challenge.
Yeah, do you remember that?
And mate, I found it so hard.
My back was
the thing is as well though, it's just like, it's only because you've been programmed, but a lot of people would think that I'm weird for spending an hour meditation. I think it's weird that people spend an hour on social media first thing in the morning looking into other people's lives.
Yeah.
Completely rate it, mate. I just mean, like, I found it very difficult to obtain an hour.
Yeah, no,
I
get that. I feel that. I do feel that. But I was the same. And then once you fall in love with something that you knows. So imagine if I said, right, every morning for an hour, you can literally go and think of something you want to bring into your life.
Yeah.
And you could literally manifest that into reality. Everyone would be up at the crack of
That's
dawn.
so true. It is so true. But it's just the knowledge about it.
It's just the knowledge that people don't understand it because you've never been taught this. So I'll do the hour meditation. I'll read a book depending on what mood I'm in, because I never want to force nothing. If I force something, I'm going to fall out of love with it. So I might want to journal one morning. I might want to read. I might actually just want to chill out. I might just want to lay down and visualize more of my life. Get to the gym about 5 to 5. I'll sit in the car, put on to like a certain bit of music, and I'll just sit there and I'll just visualize my life, like really, really get into flow state. Then I'll go into the gym, have a laugh with a few of the boys in there that were in there at 5 o'clock. Now the gym for me is about getting rid of irritations and stress. Like, we all wake up. How can I wake up at 2:30, meditate for an hour and not be pissed off still? Like, you're still going to have these certain irritations. So then for me, that's about getting my vibration into the biggest and highest possible state that I can, all right? Our frequency is what we frequently see. So everything I'm seeing on a daily basis is going to have an impact on what my frequency is like that I'm putting out into the world. So by 7 a.m.
Having a little double espresso before the old gym?
I have a little pre-workout that I need to stop, you know. I need to stop them 5 a.m. pre-workouts. But then I'll get home to my missus, wake her up at about 7:15. Now, this is very important to me because I want to spend the morning with my missus. I want to spend the morning, you know, sitting on a bed, having a joke with her while she's getting ready, nosing her up. She might want me to get in and have a bit of a cuddle with her before she gets up to start getting ready. I'll have an ice bath. So I'll go downstairs, I'll be outside, have an ice bath while she's in a warm fucking shower.
Got one of those Lumi spas.
Yeah, the Lumi spas.
They're sick.
Yeah. So I hammer that, and then I'll get in, I'll get ready. I'll make sure I have breakfast with my missus, and then what I'm actually doing is I'm programming my life ready for family life, because everything I've taken care of is done by 8 o'clock, right? So I'll be able to take my kids on a school run. I'll be able to have breakfast with my kids. Then when I finish a day at work, I don't have to go to the gym and do anything else because I can get back for my family. So for me now, again, I'm just becoming a person I want to be in 5 years' time. So how does that start? It starts by putting habits in place. Then by the time I've done everything in the morning, I've been up like, 5 hours by 7:30, and I've already started my day. So by the time I get into the office and I've got my first client or whatever I'm doing, I'm in flow state, bro. There's no stopping me. Like, if someone's coming on that call fucking depressed, mate, you're going off there and thinking you've just took a pill on the terrace.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So then I'll be in the office, and then I'm very, very good at downtime. I realise some days I'm like, I don't have any clients in the afternoon. Well, let's go chill. I'll take the laptop home, like sit on the sofa or be in the office, and I'll just chill, and I'll just do like 25-minute blasts of work. But the main thing I've learned in life is just no one's putting pressure on me to do all of this. This is me putting pressure on myself to do it. So we realise that we're the only ones that put pressure on ourselves, no one's holding a gun to ourselves. If you just want to have a little bit of downtime, have it.
I'm shit at that, and sometimes it does annoy me.
Yeah,
because sometimes when in my head I'm thinking like, I should be having downtime. If I'm having that downtime, I actually feel guilty.
Earn it.
It's annoying.
Yeah, but just earn the downtime. It's like, if I've done my morning exactly how I want to do it, and if I've given my clients every possible thing I can, and you've given everyone that you come into contact with the best version of yourself, have your downtime. Because if you don't have your downtime moving through life, people that you come into the shop, they're going to get miserable you. They don't deserve that. People that you come into Tesco, they might be battling their depression. They get miserable you while you're walking past them in the aisle when you could say hello. So I believe for me, it's so important that I get myself ready every single morning brutally, because then so many other people, not just clients, are going to get the best version of me. And we moan and we get upset that we live in such a sad and miserable life, but at the end of the day, like, that's our fault, that's on us. But if we show up every single day for ourselves, everybody else benefits from that.
Yeah, you're bang on. And also, like, that downtime means that it's more special when you have it. Cool. So let's just pull back. Obviously, with the coaching, COVID happens.
Yeah.
Now, that must have been like a, not difficult, but more of a challenging period for you as a coach, right? Because, you know, you've got your first 100 clients, it's going well, but at the same time, like, this is another hurdle, right?
Yeah, so it was mad because when I first started out, it probably took me a year to have like 100 people, but when I first started, it was like, right, I've given up a solid income. And then what happened was I feel like I had some mad awakening, so I started therapy. And basically what happened in that was purely just to get a little bit of guidance in my life and deal with the sexual abuse stuff, because it started coming to the front of my head. And then I cleared out all of the women that I was sleeping with. And then she was like, look, get rid of all the women you're sleeping with. I've got rid of my phone, and overnight, within a week, I've gone from Brad Parker to Bradley Parker, right? So overnight, I've stopped everything, launched the coaching business, Natalie came into my life, who then has been my missus for 2 years. And then the coaching was just like trial and error. And it was hard. Obviously, people fucking worrying about money, like, everyone's locked up. Do you know what I mean? So like the first 6 to 8 months of coaching were terrible.
How was the therapy? Because I've had therapy, but I found, like, going there, like, man, I'm not ashamed to admit it, I searched the lady's room for cameras.
Yeah.
Because, like, it was that, I felt that fucking
Yeah.
like vulnerable. How did you find, obviously, from being a coach to then going through therapy yourself and, like, working through that process?
I understood how important it was, and I believe, like, how can I get people to invest in my service if I don't invest in someone else's? So this is why, no matter how much I charge for coaching, I always make sure that monthly I will pay that towards someone else. Do you know what I mean? To prove that I'm walking the walk. So yeah, it was good, man. But I knew that I needed to do it, get rid of all the final sort of demons that were in the closet and stuff. And yeah,
it's a weird feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, but also, like, I feel like being vulnerable. I feel like being emotional. I just believe everything's a superpower. Like, honestly, like, when I started to get to the core reasons of why everything was happening, it just clicks. You understand everything. You understand the codependency problems. You understand the issues that you have trying to fit in with everyone growing up, you need to create your own lane rather than try and fit in everyone else's. So yeah, it helped. And then I still, for like 6 to 8 months, it was just something just wasn't clicking. I was coming to the office, I wasn't really doing work, I was having clients. Because I guess in life coaching, a lot of people in where I live is like, you can become a nutrition coach and there's so many other people you can reach out to. There's no life coaches that you can reach out to and go meet for a coffee. Do you know what I mean? So it was lonely. It was very much just like, how can this kid go from living one lifestyle to a week later completely changing it? So I was getting a lot of hate, a lot of Instagram accounts being made, a lot of threats to go to the police and the papers and that. Obviously, so me trying
weird people, isn't they?
Yeah, being in a vulnerable headspace, trying to like create and do a positive. But I used to just say to these people, I used to be like, look, how many times do you pay for the box office on the boxing, right? How many people of these ex-boxers used to sell crack, used to sell heroin, right? 10 times worse than what I ever was involved in. I'm doing something, I'm stopping people from taking their lives. You're just fucking miserable that you're in the same place and you're hating on someone that's done something you wish you could fucking do.
Just their insecurities, isn't it?
I find it so strange that, like, when someone tries to make a positive change or they try to do something, that other people try to claw at them. It's
because they're stuck and they haven't got the balls to do it. A lot of people, I know a lot of people look at me now and fucking I still get the odd comment and stuff, but I just laugh. I'd be like, if I was who they were, I'd hate me too. I've got the fittest bird. I've got a business that's respected, a clothing brand, a loving family, a dream car, beautiful office.
Good mindset,
great friends. Positive as fuck. Go gym every day. I'm happy. I don't need anyone's attention to make me feel better. I'd fucking hate me from the outside as well. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is like, people don't realise it's just like, I'm just a human. I'm no one special. I've just made a promise to myself every single day and I've just kept it, and I've created this life. I've manifested this life into reality and I've invested in myself. And whether you're Jeff Bezos, fucking Oprah Winfrey, Conor McGregor, like, there's no level in life you can't get to. Everything starts with a thought. These microphones started with a thought. Table, fucking the podcast, everything starts with a thought. The next thing that comes, belief. Once you believe in something, then comes action, thoughts, feelings and actions, right? So I just become obsessed with that, and I just realised, like, whoa, actually on the coaching thing, like, sky's the limit, you know? Like, I will, and I promise you this now, I do already offer the most relatable life coaching service, and I will be able to offer a service that every single person in the world will be able to afford and get coaching once a week.
Yeah, I rate that, mate. So obviously, just to touch on you being the only person, you know, in your town to be a life coach, did you find a mentor or someone like who could support you?
Yeah, so the woman that I was actually with therapy at the moment, shout out Kristen, she was sort of a life coaching me as well, like giving me a bit of guidance and stuff. Then I was like, right, okay, if I want to take this to the next level, I need to invest in someone. So I got in touch with someone, his name's Matt. I work very closely with him now. I actually offer him one of my options to my clients, manifestation and meditation expert, and I basically like filled out the form. He was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to change the world. And he was just like, okay, cool, so let's get to work. And no ifs, no buts, no nothing, because I just want to know more about this. Now, I used a business coach before, and it was a waste of $5,000, so I was very anxious about investing in someone else. And then I just saw, like, there's nothing there. Like, there's a few like people that put content out on social media, but there's no one that you can actually reach out to, know your money's safe, they care, and they'll get back to you on WhatsApp within 20 minutes if they're not on a call. That's how my service runs, right?
Even Robbins will upsell you, right?
Yeah, exactly that, exactly that. So for me, it's like, yeah, I find it effortless, and it's a bonus because no matter whatever I learn, I give that to my clients. So it's it's my addiction, but it's my healthy addiction, you know. And it doesn't come from a place of there's no needs, there's no wants. I don't benefit. Like, I invest a hell of a lot of time, money, and effort into producing. You know, I'll probably put maybe 100 bits of content a week across different platforms, right? I don't benefit from having to do that. I don't have to be on every platform. But for me, if one person can look at one thing and it gives them a smile, a 23-year-old Brad would have loved to be able to fucking just have one person that they can relate to, you know? That's why I feel like being so open and honest about everything, it doesn't embarrass me, it doesn't cause me anything, because one person's positive thought means so much more to me than 10 people's hate.
Also, mate, we're all going for our own fucking battles, aren't we? It's trials and tribulations, mate. No one perfect.
Everyone thinks that people are going to get... No one gives a fuck, mate.
Bang on, mate.
No one cares.
I always say this, do not count, you ain't that important, bro.
No one gives a fucking... The Queen died. No one spoke about that 2 weeks later. No one gives a shit what you're up to.
I'm throwing it out there. We want a fucking flying rock in space. No one cares.
No one gives a fuck, mate. No one, like, we've got a corrupt government. No one cares. Like,
yeah, it's bad.
The thing is, though, getting to the point where you realise that no one cares is actually quite difficult.
Yeah, but once you get there, I've always been like that subconsciously. I've always never really given a fuck. It was my ego that was like life choices that draw me back into actually maybe caring. But that was coming from a place of a kid that wanted to be liked by everyone. I don't need everyone to like me. My family, yeah. My missus, yeah. My close friends, yes. Every single person that follows me on social media doesn't need to like me. Every single client that I have doesn't need to like me. They only need to just know that they can get value in me as a person and a service. So I could have clients that fucking hate me, but if they know that every single day they're going to wake up and they're going to get value from me, that's perfect. So once you have that mindset that goes back to just even waking up in the morning, everything's a blessing. Everything is a blessing. Doesn't matter what you've been through in life. It's a blessing to have these problems. It's a blessing to fucking have heartbreak. Some people don't experience heartbreak anymore.
So true. I think I started thinking about the whole only caring about what family and friends think when we started doing this podcast. And then when I thought to myself, like, I'm going to be putting content out there, so people are going to be getting to know me. The only people I actually care about what they think is literally my family and friends. So like that's all I care about, as long as they think I'm being authentic. Yeah,
but then even then it gets to the point I started putting content. I can give a fuck what my mum and dad and my dad think. I can give a shit. Like, if every time we wake up, even growing up through like when I was younger, we put on this armor to leave the house because everyone looks at us a certain way is what we think and feel, right? But that's just our insecurities projected on us. I could think that you think of me a certain way. I could think that you think of me a certain way. But the fact is, whatever I'm thinking of how you look at me, it's just my insecurity and my opinion of yourself, because everything is imagination.
Everything's perception.
Everything is perception. The only thing that we actually know right now, if you think about it, in this world, right, no matter what we might think we know, is the fact that we're sat here having this conversation.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what you're thinking, don't know what you're thinking, don't know what you're going to say, don't know what you're going to say next. Have no idea what's going on out there. Don't know what my bird's up to, don't know what the lads are up to, have no idea what's going on. So when you start to live life like that and realise that everything is just your imagination, and unless it actually happens in front of you right here, right now, it's all waffle.
Yeah, everyone just has main character syndrome.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're in your 20s, you think that, you know, everyone's thinking about you. Everyone's just thinking about themselves. You get to your 30s, it's less like that. You get to your 40s, you just don't give a fuck.
No, you just trust me. There's just no energy. So it takes like, you don't realise that every negative thought you have lowers your vibration and frequency, which then disconnects you from being at your highest vibration, right? So when someone cuts you up in the car, everyone gets pissed off about. I've just wired my brain to think that they could be on the way to the hospital to see their loved one. They've only got 2 minutes to see him. Do you know what I mean? Like, then you're not annoyed. Then you're in Tesco, someone fucking barges in front of you. They're in a rush as well.
Yeah.
No worries.
Are you still cycling now?
Nah, so obviously I do a little bit of TRT, but
Yeah.
I'm the best shape I've ever been. I can run a 5K.
I was going to say,
and I'm the
because
fittest I've ever been, and I've not taken anything.
yeah, mate, I was just going to say, because those thoughts of like someone cutting you up.
Oh, I used to go mad, mate. When I used to live at home, yeah, like if honestly, like, so I obviously would have my food weighed up, yeah, and I'd be juiced up to the eyeballs.
Yeah.
And my mum, yeah, I'd have my food downstairs, and sometimes my mum would prep my food. I would know if she's given some to my dog, and when that would happen, I used to go fucking acca, mate. I'd go mad, but like, that's meant to be 120 grams. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'd be like, I bought you, you little bastard. Like, what are you doing? Like, getting well angry and that. Whereas when you start to realise the people that you push away because of your anger and who you become as a person, like, it's a big wake up call. But yeah, I used to get well angry, mate. I'm like, hate me, what you know, I'm fine, yeah.
That's why I was asking, because I was like, you can't think like that if you're doing everything
but then
else.
meditating for an hour, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
does massively help. But yeah, no, I actually can actually say this hand on heart, like the lowest dose I've ever been, and that's only so my fucking balls work.
Yeah, mate, I rate it. I think everyone should eventually, if you get past a certain age, do TRT.
100%.
It's a no-brainer.
Why wouldn't you?
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, literally, it makes you feel better, makes you more focused,
better sleep, better recovery,
better
everything.
Better everything. My bird gets a better version of me. Do you know what I mean?
On.
And to be fair, where I've took so much throughout life, like my hormone levels all over the roof. Yeah, so if I did stop, I probably would crash.
Yeah.
Like, I'd go maybe like 2 weeks without jamming, and I feel my mood going a little bit. So I have to bring myself back.
Coming off of test is literally horrible.
So it got to the point where I was like, I'm only ever going to go back on, so I'll just cruise.
Yeah.
Have you ever been off roids for a considerable
Yeah,
amount
well, I
of time?
tried to call it a day once, and then it just never happens, mate. I think I don't even know how long I lasted. I made the call, and I was like, he was like, fucking knew you wouldn't last. I was like, oh no. But I said it like last year. I was like, look, I'm done. I'm absolutely shredded. If I reverse diet out of this properly and really control everything, then happy days. And I have actually got to a position. I actually done a post on Instagram before we come in here, just like, I'm happy. Like,
yeah,
I can run. Like, I'm fit as a fiddle. Like, I ran a 5K on a treadmill, like 24 minutes. Like, my third ever go. Like, I'm healthy. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't take drugs. Like, I generally probably sitting now as a bit of a realisation with you boys in the office and everything. Like, I'm in the best position in my life that I've ever possibly been in, and I feel like I had a spiritual awakening again the other morning. Like, something was getting dragged out of my body. And I just feel like every week I'm just creating the ability to level up.
Yeah, it's decent.
You've mentioned a couple of times about spirituality. I mentioned a couple of times about crystals and whatnot. Are you religious? Do you believe in a faith?
No, but I went to church about 2 weeks ago, because basically I always ask the universe, send me a sign for guidance. And I went and done these street interviews in London, and all I kept seeing was God. I thought, fuck off. So I was like, one of these things, once it gets to my head, I have to go and do it. So I went to church. It was a great experience. But I wouldn't say I'm religious. I would say in a way like I've just created my own religion of like a bit of everything, a bit of spirituality, a bit of God, a bit of like the universe or higher power, a bit of like I believe within myself I have a very, very powerful guide. So I'll sort of just have like a mixture of everything, bit greedy.
Yeah, but who isn't there?
But yeah, exactly. It's just like when you go into personal development, like you don't have to take everything out of a toolbox. It's like, that might work for me.
Yeah,
that might work for me. But my biggest power, my biggest thing is if I just treat myself as God, because then it's like I'm worshipping me, I'm respecting me, I'm listening to me, and every single time before I go to bed and when I wake up, I'm voicing my opinion. And I'm communicating with me in a healthy way. So
I think it's important that everyone's in touch with their spiritual side, even slightly. Don't necessarily have to be fully involved in it.
So my best mate, Jake, come downstairs the other day with a pendulum, and I'm like, look, ask it a question. And I was asking it a question and that, yeah, and he was like, you're off your fucking head, mate. He's like, you have fully lost the plot. I'm like, no, but yeah, obviously, like, who's going to come down and go, look, ask me something, it's going to tell you the truth and that. And I'm like ringing my bird, FaceTime, and I'm like, oh my God. So it's nice because I have a world away from a world. Like, everybody that I'm friends with, like, on a certain level, spiritual level, like, we have these mad chats. And my coach, Matt, who I work very close with, he would literally just tell me these things, and I'll message him, and it's incredible. But then when I go in, I like it because then I have like 2 lives. I feel like I have 2 personalities, you know. I have Brad, who's Brad, then I have Melior Brad, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's nice because I feel like if you're always currently in that environment, you're never going to experience or learn from other people if they don't click with your certain energy. And I love being able to learn from other people. I'm very surrounded by very successful people.
Also, if you dive into that other world too much, then you go too far.
Yeah,
we know what it's like when you go too far as well. You're
running downstairs with a pendulum.
Yeah, my mate Jordan's on that now. Like,
you know what I mean,
my mate's on that journey now in Australia. Like, he's well far into it. And I respect it, I admire it. But I talk to him and he just blows my mind.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to go that far. Do you know what I mean with it?
Take me.
Oh no, I don't mind testing it, but I don't want to be that far consistently.
Take me now, mate. I'd go straight. I'd never write anything off. I believe in the dead coming through a certain person.
Yeah.
Like, I have that a lot. I believe in everything. Anything that I haven't been taught at school, I believe in. And everything, majority of the stuff that I've learned at school and growing up, like, I don't like. When have you ever learnt what's in a fucking leaf or algebra? I've never used that since I've left. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So
I guess that kind of brings us like full circle to where we're at today. Obviously, I want to ask you. I've got a real clear picture in regards to who you are. But moving forward, what is the mission? Because like personal development means you find your purpose, or like it helps you to find your purpose, but like the mission is different.
So I've found my purpose now. I found my calling. My alarm is my purpose. I don't wake up to an alarm. Like, I'm that excited to get out of bed and just go and experience the world. I believe I've been here to go through all the trauma, go through all the pain, go through all the hate, to change as many lives for the better. That's why Melior actually means in Latin for the better. So my purpose and mission is just, it doesn't matter whether someone wears my clothing, I meet someone in the street, someone serves me at Tesco's, is to make sure that every time they've had an interaction to do with me or the brand, is that they're actually pursuing the better in life. Like, I was on a call from someone the other day with fucking Vodafone, I think it was. And by the end of it, he's like, mate, you've made me want to just go and chase my dreams. And I'm just like, never a chase, attract. Never chase anything, always attract it. Everything's energy, right? So for me, it's just about attracting the perfect life by waking up every single day and just doing something that I want to do. That's the mission. Because if I start thinking about the mission in 5 years, I'm taking the eye off the ball of what I need to be doing now, because the person in 5 years will thank me for today's actions. So my mission is just to constantly, every day, just show up. No matter how many times I don't want to get out of bed at 2:30 in the morning, show up, because there'll be some young lad that comes across my social media that is battling their mental health, and I want to just make sure that everyone's loved one wakes up to a loved one. So that's my mission. Now, my mission isn't even for me financially or anything like that. Everything's to retire my parents. Everything's to give Natalie the best life. Everything's to give Natalie's son the best life. Everything's to give my children the best life. I want everyone around me to have the best life. I'm one of these people that, like, even if I find a good videographer, I'll bring everyone in. I'm like, look, there's the work, bro. There's the work. Do you know what I mean? Or if I find, like, if you boys message me after this, like, do you reckon you can hook this up? I'm like, I'll do it for you. Do you know what I mean? Everything else now is for other people rather than myself.
Do you think that gives you purpose, though, doing it for other people rather than yourself?
100%, but the purpose is also creating someone I admire. That's my sole purpose, because I've never admired myself. Whereas if I wake up and I admire myself, I go to sleep and I admire myself, that's enough for me. Everything else is a byproduct of me showing up and doing that.
How key do you think momentum has been from that from beginning to develop that mindset?
It's massive, you know. Every time you don't show up, you set yourself back like 90 days, right? It takes 90 days to form your habits. So I believe that every day, just whether you want to do it or not, just fucking do it. Like I say to some of my clients, they'll just be like, I'm like, are you getting eaten by a fucking lion? No. I'm like, so why can't you go and do what's set for you to do?
Why can't they?
It's fear of happiness.
Fear of happiness?
Fear of happiness. A lot of people get addicted to being sad because they know what it feels like. Imagine being so happy. Right? Imagine finding love, for example, right? Everyone's dream is to find the perfect relationship. I believe solely I've got the most amazing relationship. I work so hard on my relationship with my missus. However, if you have to wake up every day, right? So when we're younger, a prime example, if you don't behave yourself, I'm going to take this away from you. Or if you don't behave this, we're not going to the park. You're threatened with love or stuff that you love being taken away from you from a young age, right? So when we go into these relationships, we're actually subconsciously programmed, obviously from the age of 1 to 7, when everything sinks in, like that if we don't behave a certain way, love's going to be taken away from us, right? So for me, the most important thing is just realizing, like, being able to receive love. Like, not having that fear that love is going to be taken away from us. So like when people are happy, they'll be fearing, fuck, if my happiness gets taken away from me, the anxiety every day of the fear of that happening is too much. I'd rather just not have it. So the fear of being in an amazing relationship and having that fear of that person leaving you because you're so used to being programmed that love's going to be taken away from you, people would rather not have that over the thought of losing it. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't realise that the belief system that we've built up can change overnight. I've never thought I'd be worthy of love, never thought a girl would want to settle down with me after my past, and I've got the most incredible relationship with my girlfriend now. Like, I'm so open, I'm vulnerable, my insecurities are with her, she knows she can do the same. Like, we have a laugh, doesn't have to be anything materialistic, but like, everyone wants to fall in love, but if you become a person you admire, someone else will admire you for that. But until you do that, you're not meeting anyone.
You also have to work on the relationship so much as
Massively.
well.
You have, like, what baffles me is people wake up and go to the job and they're so nice to random people throughout the whole day. When they get home, they don't treat their person, but they treat a random person better than what they treat their missus. No. Like, it's not that sort of party. Like, you need to make sure that you're treating your partner, your spouse who sees you on cloud 9 and 2 minutes later you could be in the dumps. You need to treat them like this the first day you ever met them. Yeah.
Also, communication's massive as well. That is a massive part of it as well. Being open and honest with your partner and actually talking through problems.
Yeah, I could bring my missus now and be like, look, I'm well overthinking something. She'll be like, oh babe, what is it? And I've got no worries about that. There's not one part of my mind I could go to my missus with anything. Even when I gave up my phone and I wasn't having this massive income coming in, she met me when I was making maybe £200 a month working in a garage in lockdown personal training because I didn't want to pull any investments. And she's just like, I believe in you so much. Do you know what I mean? So
it's the confidence they're attracted to, the self-belief.
Yeah, it's the get up and go, man. How can you not admire someone that's getting up at 2:30 in the morning and going to fucking change their lives? Or how can you not admire YouTube boys that doing a podcast? You know, the only thing you benefit from this, right, is that you get to meet people. Fact. If you make a podcast, you make money from it, brilliant. But you're actually offering a service to give to other people to be able to learn from this. You're traveling from Bournemouth, which I'm so grateful for you've done today. Didn't even realise you was coming from that far. And it's like, how can you not admire that?
Yeah, mate, I see it all the time with everything. I'm just like, anyone that's going for it, I just can't understand how people hate on it. If they're going for it, I don't care what it is, as long as it's like beneficial to them and like doesn't harm other people. I'm like, fucking round of applause, mate. Keep fucking cracking.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give, like, everyone should win. Like, do you know how much energy it takes to hate on someone?
It's weird, mate.
Or just fucking be put off by someone doing a good thing. Like, as soon as you do that, your energy you're putting out there is disconnecting you from your higher self.
So true, and the energy put out, you always get back. Exactly. And also, it takes as much energy to hate than to love. So
yeah, definitely. Like, what waste of time holding a grudge? So every time we act a certain way throughout the day, and guilt and shame, and you can't shrug it, that's the universe telling you you're being punished. There's no way you should feel happy when you've acted in that way. So the way I live my life is like, I visualize a CCTV camera is just following me around everywhere, and there's a microphone on me. Whatever I say, whatever I do is being watched, because that's how powerful the universe is. The universe is like, everything you think, feel and act, like, is picking up on it. And I get punished, man. Like, trust me, like, I think I was a rascal maybe like a month ago or something. I just had this, I don't know what was going on, and then car goes.
Really?
Yeah, car went, and I just started laughing. I was like, right, you need to tighten a few things up a little bit here. Like,
I was listening to Tate the other day, and he was saying like, about basically act as if you're being watched by people that you value the most.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, yeah, that's bang on.
But this is the thing though, this is why we should visualise as a microphone and a camera on me, and that's going out to the fucking world, because I value the world. I value every single person in this world. So every single day, like, I'll just make sure that I'm at my highest possible self. But then never ever feel guilt and shame for needing a downtime to be able to come back even better. And I had the downtime this week, surrendered to it, and I had the maddest spiritual awakening the other morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. And that was like, well done. So I've just leveled up a hell of a lot more.
What was it then?
Just laying asleep, mate. And then just literally just felt something getting sucked out of my body. Like, and I was literally just like levitating. It's the most incredible experience. And then I've been on cloud 9 since. Can't even describe it. Imagine clarity over the next 3 years. Imagine no overthinking. Imagine knowing exactly everything you need to do in every single project that you've got going on in your business, and you know everything with your relationship, friendships, how to act. Imagine all of that clarity overnight.
Do you think that's from the meditating?
It could be, it probably will be from the meditating, but the thing is, I had a break from meditating this week because I know I needed the downtime, and it came out of me then when I gave myself the downtime.
Oh, I see.
It was like something had been sucked out of me, and it was just like, well done. I can't explain it even now. My chest just feels so fucking light. So if anyone watching this, and you know, just drop me a message, because I'd love to find out what's going on. But yeah, it was the most incredible feeling, and I know exactly what I need to do, how I'm going to do it, and when I'm going to do it, like moving forward, like client wise, content wise. charity work, like family life, everything are possibly in my life at this moment in time.
I need one of those.
Yeah, mate, trust me. Everyone needs it.
Mate, you look serious. I was serious. I was thinking, I want one of those.
Trust me, if I knew how to activate it and let you know, mate, I'd fucking would. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's before I go to sleep, there's what I like. So we're in a theta stage before we go to sleep, like hypnosis. So the last 20 minutes before you go to bed, just put on some sort of affirmation or something like that, because that's what hypnotizes yourself while you're asleep. So it could be something to do with that.
I used to do that, and I used to listen to this fucking like affirmations before bed on YouTube, and it was like this creepy woman, and mate, I'm not even gonna lie, it gave me nightmares, bro.
Yeah.
I'd had a nightmare for like 10 years and I was creeping out.
There's some stuff out there, man. Like, but yeah, just the most incredible experience. It was just amazing.
I love it, mate. Brad, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
bro.
I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming down
mate,
all the way.
I
Mate.
had a sick session, mate.
Your energy's infectious, mate. Like, I genuinely feel like we're going to stop recording and I'm going to leave today wanting to be a better person.
Yeah,
being completely serious, mate.
There you go, mate. For the pursuit of the better. That's my mission in life, to make sure that you do have that.
Mate, I'm gonna mimic that. I think you're a G, mate. Yeah, straight up, mate. I think you're gonna go super far as well. I think that, you know, in terms of obviously the product, what you're offering, the energy, everything, it's just like, it's a bit of me, mate. I'm all for it.
No, I appreciate it. Do you know what as well? It's just authentic. There's no ulterior motive.
Yeah.
To it. Like, had someone reach out to me on social media, like, I wish I could afford to work with you. I was like, find 5 other friends. I told her, I said, find 4 other friends, right? And I promise you, combined what it is, like 25 quid a week or something, I will coach every single one of you on a group coaching call for an hour on a Monday night for the next 12 weeks. That I just want to like make people happier, but I don't want to do it where I'm getting the praise, like, oh, you've made me happy. Like, we've done it together. And I believe, like, whether you're a coach or whether you're in a job or whether you're in anything, like, people are so like blind to the fact that we hold the powers to be able to create happiness ourselves. Like, if we give everyone and we show up every single day and give them our best self, and, you know, we put ourselves first in the morning or before we go to sleep, like, the world would be a much happier place. You know, imagine everyone going, what's your dream? All right, cool, you want to do that? You're going to get that done.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Imagine that whole vibration and everyone's saying hello. And people, I'll say hello to people walking down the street all the time and they're like, hi. And I'm just like, how you doing? You all right? You good? Like, because I just want to make sure that just like every single person that comes into contact with anyone, so you two boys do the same thing, don't matter if they're in a shop, Tesco or anything, say hello. That abundant energy that you're putting out, you'll bring back. Money will be a byproduct of it. Love will be a byproduct of it. You want to live in a state of abundance all the time. So,
mate, I fucking rate it so much, and we need to leave it on that. That is a good enough point to leave it there. But yeah, mate, obviously, thank you so much for coming on Life for the Body. Where can people find you?
At Melior Life Coaching on every single platform, every single day, 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And I do a TikTok live at like 12 to 1 every day as well. So.
Love it. Just not Snapchat, yeah?
Nah, the missus don't like me on Snapchat.
Obviously, mate. Just me.